Hi, I'm Davia Chambers and this is Let's Talk Tobago. Today we're coming to you from breezy Palms Villa right in the heart of the southwestern Bonacore development. As usual, we've been scouring the island to get the best bits of all the major stories just for you. So it's a great location for us to share with you what we've uncovered. All you've got to do is come on in, grab a snack and pull up a chair. We'll do the rest, starting with this week's headlines. Tobago's young talent show off their art skills in a recent competition. We'll tell you who took home the big prizes. THA official recently took a trip to Jamaica and it may have big benefits for the housing sector in Tobago. And later, the island's entrepreneurs get innovative in the Business Development Unit's Creative Tank competition. We have all these stories and more when Let's Talk Tobago returns. Stay with us. Tobago's definitely got talent, from sport to recreation to academic prowess and of course in the world of the arts. The island has produced it all. And the Office of the Chief Secretary is providing support to the next generation of talent through a very special art competition. We've got the scoop on the winners and a sneak peek at their impressive work. Have a look at our first story.
It is my first time entering the competition. When I found out about the competition, I like that they thought the theme was about Tobago and the 6 years, and I wanted to showcase traditions and the culture that I liked and the aspect that I liked about Tobago. So I wanted to just kind of put all those things on a piece of, on the paper, on the canvas, and kind of showcase that.
I want to thank all the schools who participated. I want to thank the principals for allowing your students to participate. I want to especially thank the art teachers because of course we depend on you to drive them, to encourage them, to push them, and you, the students, our esteemed artists, our upcoming budding professional artists. We want to thank you for your enthusiasm.
While there can be only one winner, I want each student to know that your work and your expression is priceless. You know, there's the MasterCard tagline that says, it's priceless, right? So your expression is your expression. And indeed, it is one of a kind, it is unique.
Keep the dream alive, don't let it die. It's something deep inside, keeps inspiring you to try. Don't stop and never give up. Don't ever give up on you.
This program, as long as I am Chief Secretary, will continue. And you know, one of the things we are often guilty of when there is a change in government is that we tend to throw everything out. But this is actually one of the programs that makes sense, that ought to be kept. But we have to find a way next year to even add more incentives to the work being done for our students.
Blue flags are flying high on two more of Tobago's tour boats. Want to know who they are? Well, here's a hint. They both hail from the seaside village of Buku. To find out more about their achievement, check out this story from Amadara Mills.
Blue Flag and Green Key are international environmental awards that are presented to businesses that have met rigorous standards in the areas of safety, responsible tourism, education, training, conservation, and corporate social responsibility, just to name a few. Your presence here today is indicative of your commitment to sustainable operations within the tourism sector. It is also affirming that the hard work and dedication of these operators have not gone unnoticed. All of the awardees here today provide a practical demonstration on ways to reduce environmental impacts and increase income by adopting environmental management systems into their operations.
One of the things that I think we could differentiate ourselves from the rest of the Caribbean is this, that if we have more and more persons coming on board with certifications such as Blue Flag and Green Key, then Tobago is sending a signal not just nationally, not just regionally, but internationally, that we are serious about our tourism offerings. We are serious about getting it right. We are serious about ensuring that the persons who visit this island can get the highest quality of service, the highest quality of experience, because attaining these standards is not easy.
In terms of branding, customers, they expect a certain standard, a certain service, you know, a certain ethic. So I hope to practice and promote that. It's a standard which I have to uphold, and I could be an example to other operators. For best practice and international standards, I think Tobago's tourism is on the upswing, and as stakeholders in the industry, we should strive for excellence. Excellence in terms of standard and the way we do business.
Tobago is on a mission to provide affordable housing for its residents who need it most. Representatives from the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development visited Caribbean neighbor Jamaica to see what lessons could be applied right here in Tobago. We have more details in this story. Listen up.
The trip was organized to have an overview or look at the Jamaican Housing Trust, because their model was introduced to me by Dr. Vanessa James since in 2020. So we took the opportunity to go and see what their housing trust is like, how it was comprised, and see what we could tweak in our model, in developing our model here to deliver homes to the most vulnerable, most important, and to the housing needs that we have, because you know, we have a database of 6,000 to 8,000 persons for houses in Tobago. So we're looking at the model to see how we could tweak it to deliver to as many homes to as much people as we could. What intrigued me the most is the pride that the Jamaicans have. I mean, we visited communities where Woodford, a community at the base of the Blue Mountain, where the residents were constructing a water tank now, 55 feet by 25 feet by 23 feet. And you know what's the good thing about it? They're not waiting on the government to provide a cent.
They submit an application to the MP, after which those 5 persons are then considered, and that application would go to an oversight committee. The oversight committee consists of persons around the desk similar here, legal, financial, construction, etc. From that oversight committee, they would then go on to also, the application goes in conjunction with an engineering report.
In the construction, they do 2-bedrooms or 3-bedroom homes, tiled, not linoleum or vinyl, and they get proper windows, doors, and a tank is given to the applicant as well. The construction is within the vicinity of 6 million Jamaican, which is approximately 350 TT.
In order to change the policy, we have to take the information we gather here, develop the policy, take it to the Executive Council, hopefully to have it approved before the turn of the year, so we could start the new year with a new mandate, a new vision, a paradigm shift going forward.
Breezy Palms is a well-maintained property at the popular Bonacore development in the southwest of the island. It's got 3 bedrooms, 2 on the second level with ensuite bathrooms, and sleeps up to 6 guests. The ground floor has an open plan kitchen and a dining area, and all the other amenities and security you'll need to relax in comfort. Or if you're keen to get out and about, Breezy Palms is just a few minutes away from the island's nightlife, conveniences, and of course, A&R Robinson International Airports. Welcome back. Tobago entrepreneurs found their way under the spotlight at the 2nd edition of the Business Development Unit's Tobago Creative Tank. This year's contestants presented in 3 categories: sports tourism, food and beverage, and the creative sector. The finals took place at Shore Park Complex, and you'll find out the big winners in this story from Ryan McCool.
This is the 2nd edition of this competition. It would have started last year in the height of COVID. And as the business development unit, we needed to re-engineer and to still meet our clients. And therefore we came up with what was called the virtual think tank, where we challenge our entrepreneurs to be innovative and come up with creative ways to meet your client even in the midst of COVID.
We are preparing you to be sharks in a global environment, because when you're a shark in an aquarium, you can't help but feel big. When you're a shark in a global environment, then you have to compete with things much bigger than yourself. And so the goal that we have for you is that you are to get so big that Tobago cannot contain you.
Some of the other things we do portraits, and this was from one of our portrait treasures.
And so my book and my products are mainly made for
maximize my production capacity. That
a unique blend of woodblock, for example, turmeric, which we all know is an anti-inflammatory.
My product in the fridge and it can last for 10 years and you come back and keep it fresh. So I see myself serving people more.
Savory Isle arises from homemade dairy beverages and it's concentrated.
How was the experience for you being in the Creative Tank Tobago?
So today was a very phenomenal experience for me. It's the first time trying to do this public speaking, although we may do it in other events, but I think, facing a crowd and, expressing yourself and your business sometimes become a bit, difficult, but it was an exciting moment and I had fun doing it.
I think it's a fantastic idea. I think it gets small businesses in Tobago to want to get involved, to put themselves out there, as a lot of our businesses aren't necessarily on the internet, online, have web pages. So I think all of this kind of gets people excited, wanting to get involved, and then obviously makes it easier for you to learn how to sell in front of a crowd, which is important.
And there you have it. We've come to the end of another edition of the Business Development Unit Creative Tank Tobago. We saw a lot of wonderful Tobago-based businesses on showcase today, and it's all about supporting quality. Even though they're locally produced, they are of international standard. So from Shore Park, I'm Ryan McCool reporting for Let's Talk Tobago.
Great local cuisine, colorful indigenous craftwork, a taste of the island, all wrapped into one. If you're looking for such a place in Tobago, it's got to be the Shore Park Food Hub, the space that offers all things Tobago. If you haven't yet visited the hub, Omadara Mills is here to explain what you can expect there. It's all in this story.
The Shore Park Food Hub is one of the offerings under the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, TADCO. Situated next to the Orange Hill gas station, where the temporary Scarborough Market was once located, the Food Hub is open weekly from Thursday to Sunday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's a space where agro-processors, artisans and food vendors can rent any of the 56 stalls or 11 food containers and sell locally produced goods and cuisine. During the opening of the Food Hub, both vendors and patrons praised TADCO's business-driven initiative.
It's a very nice event where we as agro-processors can, showcase our products. Even being here, I met some other agro-processors with lovely products, and Tobago is really doing fine work, and we need more events like this to showcase our products.
I think that the event is a well-deserved one. I think also that the event is a good opportunity for young entrepreneurs to be able to come out and be able to get that form of traction.
It's a great way for new entrepreneurs, to showcase their talents and the different creative that we have on the island. Because even simply walking around, today I found out that he had so many people doing natural products here, soaps, candles. So I think it's a very good idea for both the local residents as well as foreigners.
It's an excellent idea. I love it very much. And it's fine time you make use of this building, and I guess that it could be a tourist attraction too. And then it gives the people of Tobago or the farmers or the entrepreneurs a place where they can come and display their products.
I think it's a wonderful initiative. I just came to visit, but I ended up having to purchase a lot of stuff because I'm into the natural stuff and the stuff that I would have seen, the soaps and natural flour. These are things that we could actually invest in, seeing that we have challenges in the country where certain food stuff are expensive, and we could resort to these natural stuff and they are wholesome and healthy.
Fireside cooking and dirt oven baking are features of the Shore Park Food Hub, a food court area where patrons can sit and consume their meals. Baked goods, desserts or local preservatives is an added amenity to the space. The Food Hub will also cater for live acts by local performers on particular days.
Today is a step in the right direction in terms of making the agro-processors more accessible. There will be no need for persons to be parked on the side of the road and persons taking a chance to come and get some of your produce, Let this space be a place where you could actually come and have all of your products showcased for many days to come in terms of what you have to offer. To all the vendors who are here, I want you guys to understand that this establishment here is geared towards you. We at TADCO are definitely going to be working with the agro-processors and the people involved in the art and craft and those types of persons in terms of building their capacity, in terms of building their commitment to building a brand from Tobago.
If you're interested in renting any of the kitchen containers or the stalls, check out TADCO's website where you can get answers to frequently asked questions or fill out a registration form. Individuals can also call TADCO at 639-4017, extension 1017, or the call center at 211 for more information.
The Vocational Skills Training Program is a major avenue for boosting the growth of Tobago's entrepreneurship sector. This year, more than 1,000 people graduated from the program in over 30 disciplines. We've got more details from the ceremony in this story from Crystal George.
Another 1,000 Tobagonians can boast about learning a new marketable skill. They graduated from the Vocational Skills Training Program, an initiative of the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport. For over 7 months, they learned mixology, handicraft, electrical installation, photography, and many other skills. Community Development Secretary Terence Baines saluted participants for their engagement in the classes, as well as their time and dedication to completing the program.
Tobago can now boast of adding a new chapter to an ongoing legacy of empowerment through learning. Now that you have grasped this opportunity, you must recognize that you have taken a bold, confident step in forging a solid future. As we acknowledge this simple but salient truth, I wish to also reflect on the words of renowned blues musician Mr. B.B. King. The beautiful thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you.
The annual program goes beyond having a hobby or finding activities in your spare time. It's an investment in the future and entrepreneurship sector.
Our intent, aside from those who want to pursue for their own leisure and hobbies and so on, is to see Tobagonians move from just a hobby to a lucrative business where they can employ persons, contribute to the whole economic purse of Tobago and by extension Trinidad and Tobago. So in other words, we want to encourage a whole spirit of entrepreneurship.
Without the hard-working, patient tutors, the program would not have been possible.
Out of vocational skills, we have a lot of tutors who started as students and are now tutors. And we are in vocational skills, we are looking to push students into entrepreneurship.
Coming out from after COVID, because we had the class online first, and it was challenging to do all cutting, nailing, putting frames together online until we were given the green light to have it face to face.
The participants too were overjoyed to have been accepted into the program.
This for me was one of the best experiences that I've ever had with Miss Helena Boucher. She was one of the most straightforward. She broke down everything for us, step by step by step.
I learned how to do my own little extension cord and how to build up my little circuit with lights and my switches.
The ceremony was held at Shaw Park Complex. The participants and tutors came together to proudly display the works that came courtesy of their newfound skills. I'm Megan Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
So we've got to take another break, but do not go away. Let's Talk Tobago will be right back. Stay with us.
Oh, Tobago, Tobago, son of the soil. My name is Duvon Stewart, and you're watching Let's Talk Tobago.
The Equal Opportunity Commission is actively seeking to re-establish its presence in Tobago. Its operations were disrupted by the advent of COVID-19.
Pre-pandemic, the EOC held office days in Tobago once per month, and now that the restrictions have been lifted, we really were anxious to get back into Tobago and have a presence here. So this caravan, this 2-day caravan, is really a precursor to the EOC coming back to Tobago in the new year.
The Commission's Manager of Corporate Communications, Shelley Dollabile, says the EOC is mandated to working towards eliminating discrimination and promoting equality of opportunities for Trinidad and Tobago's citizens.
We really wanted to come and spread this message in Tobago, as well as share the free services that we offer at the Commission, which includes free legal advice. Organizations can also request inclusivity sessions from us, and we also make appearances on webinars free of charge.
The EOC also receives, investigates and mediates matters of discrimination.
Persons who have been discriminated against, they can come to the Commission and lodge a complaint, and we will investigate it, and then our trained conciliator will bring all parties around the table and try to resolve the matter.
The EOC caravan allowed members of the public to be guided by capable on-site communications officers who were very happy to interact with patrons. For more on the Equal Opportunity Commission and its services, check out the EOC's official website at www.equalopportunity.gov.tt. I'm Ryan McCool for Let's Talk Tobago.
We may not be able to walk a mile in the shoes of the differently abled, but what we can do is to walk alongside them by being inclusive and by getting educated about their challenges and how we can really support their needs. That's what the annual Down Syndrome Awareness Month Buddy Walk was all about. We bring you the highlights right now.
October was World Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and as customary, Tobago did its part in spreading awareness. The island celebrated the occasion with its annual Buddy Walk. This year, the island celebrated its 10th year with the theme, We Speak So Our Children Could Be Heard. The initiative was hosted by the Down Syndrome Family Network. It highlighted the importance of supporting people with special needs. The day was filled with dance, music, and color.
It's not just a mindset change, but we also need legislation to help people understand that mindset. Otherwise, we as parents, our children, and other adults living with disabilities will just have to wait and accept the charity and the concessions offered by the people who care. And those who don't care will not be made to care.
Events like the walk help to push Down syndrome awareness into the forefront of the national agenda. It invites the public to walk a mile along with someone with Down syndrome, or for organizations to advocate for persons with disabilities. The most important aspect of awareness is the goal of inclusiveness, ensuring children living with Down syndrome or disabilities in general aren't excluded from typical childhood activities.
As parents and as a society, what we need to do is give them every single opportunity. We as parents have to be constantly advocating, constantly talking to everyone, constantly speaking to the teachers, asking for their help with working with our kids, letting them know that having our children in an inclusive educational setting will not only mean more work for them. It would mean a more understanding community where people who attend school with someone with a disability could understand, hey, this person isn't what they thought they were.
Having a support system is paramount. The Education Division is pledging its support to persons with disabilities.
The Division of Education is committed to providing that support, whether it's through our special schools or partnering with our various stakeholders out there that provide education to our children. And we are looking at inclusive education. Don't exclude them.
I'm Marlon Gottsliben for Let's Talk Tobago.
So we've come to the end of yet another edition of Let's Talk Tobago, and as always, we thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can email us with your comments or queries about the program. Be sure to visit our website, like our Office of the Chief Secretary Facebook page, follow us on Instagram as well as Twitter, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. To find out more about Breezy Palms, call 639-9600 or email villasoftobago@gmail.com. From our house to yours, I am Davia Chambers, along with the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, wishing you a safe and fantastic week. As we go, we leave you with a montage from the Chief Secretary's Tobago Secondary Schools Art Competition.
you're moving from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
And welcome to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show, the one and only morning show. We are live here in Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago this morning, and I know you guys have missed me. See, I'm all clad, properly clad, because I have to come out back strong, right? So forgive the beard. I'm trying to grow a little beard. My uncle calls it a beardet. I'm ably joined by my colleague, my friend, Kaylee Lewis. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Dwayne. How are you doing this morning? I mean, it's a beautiful morning.
Not as fine as you, but you look lovely.
Thank you, Dwayne.
You come out for them. You're better than me this morning. It's been a while. I wasn't here last week, so I had to come out for them. I had to come out for them strong. But just remind the viewers on the various platforms on which they are viewing us this morning.
Okay, so good morning to everybody viewing us on M&E TV. Gael, Facebook, YouTube, all the platforms. Good morning to everybody. Thank you all for tuning in this morning to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show. It's so amazing when young people can leave and young people can be in charge.
Yes, and I want to give it up to Tobago Updates for
most
fostering
definitely
and for pioneering this movement of the Youth Wednesdays, giving youth a platform to which they can lead. What has been happening in this space, though?
So many things. So many things that were happening. I mean, last night when I was looking at the news, the People Meter on TV6, they asked persons if they believed Mr. Watson-Duke when he asked for Trinidad to intervene in the Tobago situation. And 100% of the voters said no. They didn't think that he was serious. And I mean, it's so funny. It's so funny in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that is symptomatic of what has spiraled into what we call unfortunate situation in the political arena, given that the 13 PDP assemblymen would have resigned from the party executive, those executives and those who are members. Quite interesting, a lot taking place in the political arena in Tobago. But I know Candice Jackson will definitely delve more into that on Good Morning Tobago afterward. I'm having a very special guest, a surprise guest coming on later on this morning. So that'll be it for the banter this morning. Over to you, Kaylee, for news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Dwayne. And here is your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, 14th December 2022. Members of the Scarborough Secondary alumni are calling for immediate action to address serious infrastructural problems at the school. In a press release, the alumni stated they were fed up with the unfulfilled promises made by administration after administration and wanted the THA to be honest with them. They called for answers regarding the acquisition of land to construct a new school, the designs and plans for financing. The THA has until Tuesday, 3rd January 2023 before the alumni takes further action. In some politics, the PDP recorded more resignations from its executive council. The latest resignation was the party's general secretary, Natasha Ann Second, who also held positions of chairman of the West Constituency Council and chairman of the Scarborough-Calder Hall party group. Second stated that there is no longer any democracy in the party and she does not agree with its current direction. Within the last few days, the party's deputy chairman, Andre Cowan, and its elections officer, Otis Noel, also resigned. These resignations follow that of Chief Secretary Fali Augustine and the entire THA Executive Council from the party last week. And nationally, the Attorney General moved to a High Court judgment that prevents Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley from laying the firearm user's license audit report in Parliament. Former Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith filed the injunction. Justice Davindra Rampasad pointed out that despite assurances the contents of the audit would not be laid in the Parliament, no undertaking was given of such in courts. She agreed with Griffith's claim and stated that given the gravity of the public allegations, premature publication of the reports would have far-reaching consequences. And that was your news in 90 seconds. It's back to you, Dwayne.
Yes, guys, welcome back, welcome back. So we have birthdays as per usual. This morning we have quite a few birthdays this morning in the month of December, the festive season of December. Christmas, we're just one week away from Christmas. And first we have celebrating anniversaries, Mr. Joseph and Susie Nero. A happy anniversary to you from the Tobago Updates team. They're all the way from Roxborough Open Bible Church family also sends you love. And who do we have next?
We also have Mr. Daniel Williams. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Daniel Williams.
All right. Do you want to do the next one, Kaylee?
Sure, no problem. Mr. Lance Phillips, happy birthday to you from Uncle Ray, Uncle Elton, and the Richardson family. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Lance Phillips.
All right. And then we have Miss Ruth Das. Good morning and happy birthday to you from the Tobago Updates family. Wishing you a happy birthday. And who do we have next?
Well, next we have my mommy. Woo! Happy birthday, mommy. Coming from me and my daddy and my sisters. We know that you're going to have an amazing day today, an amazing weekend. Just fun. Happy birthday to you, mommy.
All right, and happy birthday to you as well. And then we have a belated birthday greetings to Helena Charles from her husband, children, grandchildren, and the Frederick family. A happy birthday goes out to you. And finally, last but not least,
well, happy anniversary, happy 43rd anniversary actually, to Mr. Eric and Diane Powder. Happy anniversary to you both. We really do hope that you have an amazing day today.
All right. And listen, that couple there is reminiscent of couple goals.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Accent colors, matching colors, everything. I want to live that long. But you know, we have quite a bit of a great rundown for you guys this morning. So first, we have joining us this morning from the Outer Division of Finance, Trade and the Economy, Mr. Anselm Richards, and I think he's ably joined by the Chief Management Accountant. We're having that interview this morning. And who do we have next, Kaylee?
We also have Miss Kayla Doyle, representing the Rotary International Family, Rotary Southwest Tobago, actually talking a little bit about the hamper distribution that is going to happen very soon.
All right. And then we also afterward have the Signal Hill alumni class of 2009 coming to speak to us about a special event that they're hosting for the year-end event. So stay tuned and come and join us, and we are going to do that. So up next, we also have the holiday ideas for children on Christmas break. Lorraine Edo will be doing that interview.
Up next, we have Mr. Anselm Richards. We can see him here on the screen this morning. Good morning to you.
All right. See, giving us, he's excited, man. He's excited. Right. So, guys, that is our rundown for you guys this morning. Just remember who we have up next and continue to share the live.
Share the live. Share the live.
We'll be right back.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Spread Christmas joy and cheer with a loan from Lambo Credit Union this year. Get 100% financing for shopping, home renovations, furniture and appliances. debt consolidation, and much more. Did we mention no payments until the end of January 2023? Get the most flexible repayment periods and the best interest rates around. Call 639-5060 to book your appointment today, or visit us on Facebook or Instagram. Wishing you a happy holiday from Lambo Credit Union. And remember, we are always here for you.
Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
Was a while before Christmas, and all through the land, people was putting away house with very little money in hand. They was painting and cleaning and doing their chores, but I went to hunt for deals at American stores. Deals on living and dining room sets, on fridges and stoves, beds and cabinets, on washers and dryers, small appliances cheap, even TVs and stereos, prices just can't be beat. So let's Christmas together at American stores. After all, what they tell me, anything could be yours.
Anything can be yours at American stores.
Welcome. It's Christmas time at Limage Parfait Day Spa.
And we invite you to indulge in a range of gift vouchers, gift packages, body pampering services, and more. We can even host your next spa party. With 2 branches conveniently located in Trinidad and Tobago, we look forward to making your experience beautifully unforgettable. Call us today or visit our website, elparfait.com.
Feliz Navidad. Bienvenido a Limage Parfait Day Spa.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash in transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show, coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Now, there seems to be things bouncing in the air, but we're not in the basketball season. Here to speak with us today, we have Mr. Anselm Richards, accompanied by Ms. Petal Roberts. A special morning to you all, and how are you all doing this morning?
Good morning, and we are well. Thank you.
And thanks for having us. Okay, so
Thank you.
Mr. Richards, your name alone, you need no explanation, but for the sake of our viewers and our listeners, can you all explain to our viewers who you are and your titles, please? Okay.
Certainly, I am Petal Ann Roberts, Chief Management Accountant of the Tobago House of Assembly under the Office of the Chief Secretary.
Okay, well, Anselm Richards, or Anselm D. Richards, and the days for Dobson, if you want me to be complete, from Belgarden. I'm the Chief Technical Advisor, Tobago House Assembly, Division of Finance, Trade and the Economy.
Okay, thank you. few days ago, we would have observed a news release saying that the contractors would have received bounce checks. Can you explain to us what could have caused that issue?
Well, firstly, I want to apologize on behalf of the Tobago House of Assembly for the inconvenience caused by this issue. This issue is not something that was planned. When you hear bounce checks, you think that you issue checks on an account that has no money. It's something that is fraudulent, but that is not the case. The Tobago House of Assembly made some changes over the years. In 2003, the Tobago House of Assembly established bank accounts under each division. They decentralized the assembly. It was one accounting unit under the Division of Finance. And at the time, the administration thought it best to decentralize and give divisions autonomy to manage their own finances. Recently, as recent as 2014, the government decided to digitize and modernize the public financial management system of the assembly. And the Tobago House of Assembly fell as part of the pilot project for that project under the national project. So whilst we were undergoing all the change management and the developers came to Tobago and they saw the Tobago House of Assembly framework for bank accounts, they said, listen, this system requires fewer bank accounts. The THA had, in last fiscal, 70 bank accounts. Wow. So you can imagine how difficult it is to manage 70 bank accounts. So with Free Balance, which is the software that the THA will be adopting very soon, as soon as this week. We are just waiting word on central government. We had to have the changes of the bank accounts, and this was a direct result of what had transpired with the checks.
Okay,
okay,
continue if you want.
So basically, we operated 70 bank accounts. For fiscal 2023, which started in October, we changed the way in which we do business and manage the assembly's operations in a more efficient manner. So the Division of Finance has a strengthened and advanced treasury function for the Tobago House of Assembly. So all these accounts now were consolidated into 4 main accounts that are really the 4 main accounts and the 4 main heading of expenditure under the Tobago House of Assembly. So we had divisional payroll accounts, divisional goods and services accounts, divisional development program accounts, and divisional special purpose accounts. So when the developers came and they looked at our framework, they said, listen, this cannot work in our IFMIS, in our information system that we want to adopt. So therefore, you have to change it. So we consolidated our resources in fiscal 2023, this fiscal. So all the releases are in 4 separate bank accounts rather than being disbursed to divisions. Now, when you issue a check, it's against the releases. These checks that bounce had nothing to do with this fiscal. These checks were issued prior to September. And therefore, persons who are now coming forward, and this is only evident in 3 bank accounts so far. I don't think we would see the issue because we have asked divisions to reconcile and look at your accounts, look at your unpresented checks, look at your unspent balance and ensure that you have the resources to which these checks can be matched against. So when the first check bounced, we had a meeting at the Division of Finance to treat with the matter. As a matter of urgency, I did call yesterday somebody who had a problem with their checks, somebody I knew who had a return check. And I asked, was your check reissued? And they told me yes. So we are treating with the matter of the bounce checks. It's not that we are inefficient or sloppy or it's malicious. It has nothing to do with a malicious administration or we are just doing things anyhow. It is because we change our cash management system, and this is evident because of some previous year anomalies that occurred in specific bank accounts, and it's only 3 so far.
Yeah. So let me just add, right, and petal lay the foundation. So what, and let me bring it down into the layman, the street man language. So what we had 70-something bank accounts we consolidate them into 4 main operating accounts. So the checks, this is what the people need to understand. The checks that are being returned, I wouldn't even classify them as being bunks, they are being returned. Those are being drawn or encashed on the accounts that are being closed. So from in this fiscal, funds are not going into those accounts. They are going only into the 4 main accounts. So that is where the reconciliation issue is occurring. And you have a transitional issue with these checks that are issued on the old accounts. Now, cash from this fiscal are not going into those accounts because those old accounts are being consolidated to be closed later in this year. So we are not putting cash, fresh cash into these accounts because the decision is to close them down because they cannot fit into the framework of IFMIS, which is the Integrated Financial Management System that the government of Trinidad and Tobago is saying that the public accounts have to operate on in short order. So that is just the issue. So it's not an issue that the teacher is facing any financial issue or anything like that. It's a transitional issue where we are moving into this new cash management framework, new financial management system. And in order for that to happen, we have to close off these proliferation of accounts we had. And we know the problem we had with that with the Auditor General. All over the place, you can't reconcile, you can't pay, you can't find money because we have an account that we don't even know we had.
Okay, understood.
So we're cleaning up the system for efficiency, predictability, and accountability. That's the issue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Richards and Ms. Roberts. And, you know, with change, you always have to expect some type of hiccup somewhere. And we would have noticed that in the public space, there seemed to be a blame game going on. Public servants were being attacked. I saw them bring up back quotes from the Chief Secretary saying that, you know, don't blame the public servants, blame the politicians, you know. Everybody in the public space was so angry trying to figure out who do we blame. But when in reality, it was just something you should expect. Yes, something you should expect with change.
And in all fairness, the Chief Secretary, when he went back to the House on the 24th of November to do the reconciliated budget statement, he didn't mention to Tobagonians that the THA has consolidated 52 out of the 70-something accounts into 4 main operating accounts. You can go back to his statement. So he was being frontal, he was being transparent, that these are some of the financial upgrades that we are doing in the THA. So this administration is not about hiding information. We are as open as you can be where the public funds are concerned.
I want to also add that this issue is not new, where checks are being drawn on accounts without, I would say, without the requisite funding or sufficient funding. Now, bank accounts, as you know, have rolling balances. Whatever happened in previous year would affect current year. So when we did the investigation, some of these bank accounts had a few anomalies that caused this problem. However, in the past, under every single administration, every single year, we have had situations whereby checks, they were not being returned, but they were being drawn on the account, and we had to put some remedial action in place to fix them. In this case, as Mr. Richards indicated, we have a new cash management system. So the resources are not going to be transferred to the divisions accounts anymore. It is consolidated into one of the 4 bank accounts. And therefore, that's why this is more evident now than ever. However, I must let Tobagonians be reassured that we have put things in place. When you have, if anybody faces this situation, what you can do is just go back to the division. The divisions are waiting on you to come, and then we will reissue new checks in very short order, post haste.
And the new checks will be issued to be drawn on the 4 main operating accounts, so you will get your money. Because the money in there waiting for you. You have to bring back the check and get a new check.
Yes.
So you're not afraid. So it's a transitional issue so that we can account better for your money as we go along, as we move forward. Okay, so it's a little inconvenience, but at the end of the day, you ain't going to get no problem with Auditor General. You're going to know where your money being spent. And that's how the business of the THA is being conducted. And Petal is leading that charge, and she's
I would have mentioned that the both of you keep hinting at a new cash management system. With this new system, what can we expect? What improvements can we expect to see with this new cash management system?
All right, so one, I want to put a plug here for ACH. It's Automated Clearing House. The Tobago House of Assembly is trying to move away from checks and do what you could like a direct deposit to accounts. We currently pay about 99% of our employees using ACH. We want to move away and advance that to paying suppliers, contractors through their bank accounts. So soon we will come out in the public and ask the contractors for their banking information. We will verify it. First Citizens Bank, which are our bankers, they are on board. They have actually done training with us. They are holding our hands to ensure that there's a seamless transition to move away from checks to ACH. Actually, the bank is really embracing this. It is more efficient. Checks to reconcile is difficult. The bank is complaining. One division has 2,000 checks per bank account, and we do everything manual in the assembly, from the requisition to typing a check to signing a check. With the new system is just to optimize before we get into the IFMIS. Because IFMIS is an integrated financial management system, and in order to seamlessly transition to that, we had to have a new cash management system. And our developers said it, the Auditor General's reports indicate that. So this system you would see a better way in which we do business. And bounce checks and return checks, that wouldn't happen on these accounts.
Yeah. So with the new cash management system also, you have a central control oversight function at the Division of Finance. Because you can have real-time monitoring of what is happening with the finances of the THE. So it is not dispersed across the 9 divisions with 100 bank accounts and everybody doing what they want. You don't know what Works doing, you don't know what URP doing, and the thing just was wild and crazy. We have to sanitize the finances of the THE. And if I'm involved, it has to be sanitized. Nice. I don't involve in foolishness. You understand? Where the people's money are concerned. So we have to sanitize it, we have to bring it into order for accountability, predictability. So at the end of the day, we can come to the public in a timely fashion without these problems we have had for 20 years of doing the financial statements. The reconciliation will be done automatically by IFMIS. And so there's a lot of improvement in the financial management, because in the heart of every government is about the people's money. That's the thing. So if we sanitize that and we get the financial system in the THE up and running efficiently and effectively, then we can now move proceeds with the development of Tobago. Because by and large, my friend, the THE is a spending agency. And if we don't control our monies properly and account for it, we will not be able to move the welfare of the people forward.
So basically, this is a transitional issue. We are transitioning from a manual system to an automated system, and anybody can tell you, transitioning, you will have these, teething problems. The good thing is, as I said, we have the solution. When the first check bounced, I don't know if Mr. Richards remembers, we had conversations on, how we're going to treat with this matter. And it's unfortunate that, this is how it played out in the public space, but we want to assure our service providers who have checks that will return, go back to the issuing divisions, and you will have your checks reissued without any problems.
Great.
Yeah.
And I like how have the professionals here, because I can't remember when we would have seen another report about some Moody investor service, and I was so confused, honestly, because I'm just 21, I'm a young journalist. I had no idea. I just read it and just passed it through, because I was seeing things like a THA BA2 issue BA3. What is that? Like, what does that mean?
Okay, so what happens is that Moody is what you call a financial rating agency. So it rates the financial management and cash flow and cash management of an entity. So if you are going to market to borrow, based on your rating, your rate of interest or your coupon on the bonds or your borrowing will be lower. If you have a poor rating, then you have to pay higher, because the quality of your stock or your bonds will be conditioned against the rating you get from the rating agency like Moody. So what has happened over the years is that the THA, in preparation to go to market to borrow, because we never get enough money from Trinidad. You know that? $4.30 off of $100 car do nothing for we. So unless but don't leave that.
That's a topic for another day.
Yeah, we'll leave that day. So the THA in 2012 engaged Moody's to do the rating. But the country has always been rated by rating agency, Trinidad and Tobago. So since 2012, the THA has engaged Moody to do this rating, and Moody was doing the rating for Trinidad and Tobago. What has happened over the years is that because of the nature of the government construct constitutionally, where we receive most of our revenue from the sovereign, Port of Spain, Tobago House of Assembly has always been rated the same rating that the sovereign received from Moody's. So what has happened, if you remember last year, just before the election, the rating came out for the THA and it was downgraded to, I think it's BA2, which is really a downgrade. And then they downgraded the sovereign too. And then the Minister of Finance had some issue with Moody's. And there was an issue in the space from the minister about moving away from Moody as the preferred rating agency for the sovereign. Following that, we had the THA, the new administration, engage Moody in a conversation to ascertain certain realities. Whether it would have been good business sense to go with a rating agency that is not being used by the sovereign. I purposefully asked Moody that in the meeting. And Moody said it would make no good business sense because of the administrative and governance construct. We have to go with the same rating agency that the sovereign is using.
Understood.
So we inform Moody that we will communicate with them because we have to review the rating agency system. We try to ascertain from the sovereign which agency they are going with. We got no clear response from Port of Spain as to what they're going. So we had to inform Moody in July that we are reviewing the process by email. We inform Moody that we are reviewing the rating process and will communicate with them in the future. By that time, Moody was trying to ascertain what is the reason why we want to withdraw the rating. So because we decide to review it, the request for the review constituted a request for withdrawal. Now, let us be clear. The withdrawal of the rating does not mean a downgrading of the THA rating from Moody. It does not mean that anything untoward is happening with the financial management of the people's resources by the THA. It is a business decision by Moody for business reason. And if you go to Moody's website, you will see what are the business reasons that leads to the withdrawal. Right? But let me just take this forward. So I happened to attend the World Bank and the IMF meeting in Washington earlier this year. And there was a delegation there from the Ministry of Finance headed by the Permanent Secretary. And when we were there, we had a meeting with Moody's principals in Washington. And then is where I realized that the sovereign was leaning to go back with Moody's because Moody would have made some adjustment to their methodology to doing the rating, and it found favor with Port of Spain. At that meeting, I suggested to Moody's principal that given the construct of the governance between Trinidad and Tobago and the sovereign and the sub-sovereign, I recommended that we do one rating exercise and they give the sub-sovereign, which is the THA, a standalone report from that exercise. That request found favor with Moody, and we were in the process of flushing that out. When in December, Moody issued this press statement saying that they withdrew the rating. And I just want to emphasize that the withdrawing of the rating from the THA does not constitute a downgrade, or it does not signal that there are anything untoward, unpleasant, unclean, malfeasant, or anything happening with the people's finances in the THA. It is a business decision by Moody, which has to do with our request to review the rating process. That's all. So there's nothing there hiding. So when people in this space who understand what is happening, twisting this for political reason to make mischief, we have to come forward and clear up these issues for Tobago.
I want to add though, a downgrade. If you downgrade a country, it's because you did the rating.
Yeah.
We were rated, our last rating was 2021.
Yes.
Right. So
November the 22nd.
Right. So you can't downgrade us without doing an assessment. You look at credit risk, you look at your ability to pay your debts, you look at the whole construct of your finances. We have not had any agency to do that kind of work for us just yet. And therefore, if you, as Mr. Richards did indicate, if you go to the website, Moody's has a withdrawal, a policy on the different reasons for withdrawal. And in this case, they did indicate it's for business reasons. And that does not implicate or have anything to do with the client.
Understood.
It's their reasons. And I think it's just that we our communication with Moody's and not yet having to have a concretized decision as to, you know, what we are going with has caused the withdrawal. But the withdrawal of the rating has nothing to do with a downgrade because we were not assessed or evaluated.
Well, fortunately, I received a message from the Ministry of Finance yesterday where they are requesting certain documents from the THA for the Moody exercise. Right? They want some documents on the bonds. The bonds, the $165 million was borrowed. So Moody is in fact in the country doing the rating, and the THA is part of the national rating exercise.
That's really excellent.
So there's no problem with the people's money in the THA. and Tobagonians can rest assured that Anselm Richards and Ms. Petal is there looking at the finances of the people. And those who know me, I am police, and I will police in their money down in finance. Can't get no thief in down the one side.
That's great, man.
Yeah, so, I still have my badge. And the money lock up tight.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I want to thank the both of you all for joining us today and answering these questions so professionally and eloquently and just making that peace in the rough seas. So I think our viewers and listeners have that sense of relief. And I just want to thank you all once again. This interview was really, really great, and I really enjoyed it. So viewers, there you have it. There's nothing to worry about, people. Nothing to worry about.
We have parted the Red Sea.
Yes.
We're going to walk across to the promised land.
So yes, viewers.
Moses and Aaron are here.
So Moses, we have Moses and them in the division of finance, viewers. So worry not. So I want to thank you all once again. So I'm Luke Trim. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back. Next, we will be bringing on Kayla Doyle to speak about the annual Christmas hamper distribution drive around Tobago. So stay tuned to that. We have a lot of exciting interviews for today. We'll be right back.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show. This morning, we're talking with the Interact Club of Southwest Tobago. We have here with us Miss Kayla Doyle. She's the president of the club. Hi, Kayla. Good morning, and how are you doing?
Good morning, everyone. I am doing amazing. I'm glad to be here. It's a very nice opportunity to showcase the club, and I'm glad to be being interviewed by my immediate past president, also Ms. Kaylee Lewis, you know, so it's a nice twist there.
Okay, great. So, Kayla, can you tell the viewing public a little bit about Interact Southwest Tobago, Rotary, the whole Rotary umbrella in general? What is Rotary about?
Okay, so firstly, Rotary Southwest, I should say, is the mother club of the Interact Club of Southwest Tobago. So basically, so Interact stems from the age group 12 to 18. And then after Interact, you have Rotaract, which is from 18 plus, and then you move into Rotary. Sometimes most people tend to confuse Rotaract, Interact, and Rotary, but there is actually a difference. So Rotary is the mother club of Interact, and here they provide us with support in any venture that we may need assistance in, and they are always there and they are always ready to help. So that is Rotary. Interact aims to, be positive in the community, show selflessness among the interactors, and also, as the name says, interact, get them to know each other, make new friends, all that good stuff.
Okay, so I can say for sure that Rotary is always there to help Interact. From my experience as an interactor, our youth advisor was Mr. Skeet, A.G. Julian, and he was always there to assist. Rotary Southwest is always there to assist Interact, and I can now say as a prospective member for the Rotaract Club, Rotary Tobago is always there to help Rotaract as well. So we can see the parent clubs always being there to lend a hand and show support to their young persons.
Yes.
So there are a lot of clubs in Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of youth clubs, a lot of clubs for charity, a lot of clubs for personal development. What makes Interact different? What makes Rotary and Rotaract different from all these other clubs?
Well, one of the things I must say about Interact and Rotary is that we are an international club, which means that we are not only based in Tobago. There are clubs in Trinidad, there are clubs in all the other Caribbean islands, even in the States, wherever you think there's a club, there's a club. So, we are not just based in Tobago, so we are not on our own. There are others out there also doing this. So, it's just one big family-oriented club.
Okay, yes, and I must add that because there are so many clubs, the president last year for Rotary International was from India, actually.
Yes.
And because there are so many clubs, we have to be split up into districts. So what district is Interact in?
So Interact is actually a part of the District 7030. Right now, our district governor is a man.
Mr. Leslie Ramdhani.
Mr. Leslie Ramdhani, yes. And he is very big on, environmental, safety and, keeping the environment clean. He's one of those people. So, as this year's president, I strive to also, live up to, what he's asking for and looking for in terms of the environment aspect of things.
And as you mentioned, the district governor being a guy, I believe that the president of Rotary International this year is a female. So let's give her a little applause. Girl power. We love that because we know that in the past, females were not Rotarians. They were not a part of Rotary Interact. Well, not Interact, but they weren't Rotarians. So, we have to definitely give some applause for the little girl power that we have there. So, Kayla, tell us a little bit about the kind of things that you all do as interactors.
Okay. Well, we do a lot, I must say. Okay, so we do community service projects. We have painted benches. I don't know if you all drive past, the Canaan Bonaccord Park, but if you look inside there closely, you will see some blue benches, and you may also see the Interact logo. We also visit the Home for the Aged. We go and interact with them. We also have repainted a mural there, and we would have also gone and donated to them as well. And we also have our annual Christmas hamper drive. So every year Interact strives to to be in fellowship with Rotary to actually complete this drive, because as I said, they are our mother club. So, of course they will assist us. So this started in 2018. So this year will be our 4th year actually doing our annual hamper drive.
Okay, great. So if persons want to join the club, tell us a little information about how they can join the club.
Okay, so firstly, I will give you my contact information. So, Kayla Doyle, 781-8905. Okay, persons are supposed to attend 3 consecutive meetings before they are officially a member. So you have to attend 3 meetings to become an official member, and meetings as of right now are being held online via Google Meet. So once again, my number is 7818-905. You can message me and I will share the link with you, and you can come and be a part of the wonderful Interact Club.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Kayla, for chatting with us this morning. Viewers, just to remind you, the Interact Club of Southwest Tobago, in collaboration with Rotary Southwest Tobago, will be hosting their 4th annual hamper distribution on Sunday, 18th December. They'll be having a drive around, so they'll be going and visiting all the persons who are in need at this giving Christmas time. So fear not, don't worry, they'll be at your doorstep if your name was submitted as someone who is in need of a hamper. So thank you again so much, Kayla, for chatting with us this morning. Viewers, please remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. Up next also, we have representatives from the Signal Hill Secondary School alumni, and they'll be coming to chat with us a little bit about the class of 2009 reunion. So please remember, share the live, share the live, share the live, and we'll be right back.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
The Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection is moving to better serve you. Turn left onto Glen Road. Another left onto Montessori Drive. Welcome to the new location of the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Welcome to Lamarge Parfait Day Spa and Wellness Center, your premier spa experience located at Bonaccord, Tobago. Visit us today for facials, cellulite treatments, body contours, body treatments, pedicures, manicures, and much more. We have gift cards for all occasions and corporate events. Connect with us on Facebook at Lamarge Parfait Day Spa or call us 273-7772.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Welcome back and good morning to you. Wednesdays on Tobago Updates Morning Show. We are live here in Port Moore, Scarborough, Tobago. For those who don't know, I am Dwayne William Jr. Nurse, and I'm joined by two beautiful young ladies from the Signal Hill Alumni School of 2009. Good morning to you, ladies.
Good morning.
Right, I this morning is a very good morning because I am joined by two elegant ladies. I mean, you'll make this set look even more dashing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So for the viewers, for the sake of the viewers, just tell us your names and your positions and etc.
Good morning, Tobago. I am Khadija Kent de Freitas, one of the organizers for our Signal Hill Secondary class of 2009. And on my left, I have Miss Afisha Lincoln, one of our chair members of our executive group that we have inaugurated in the month of August.
Oh, so you guys recently convened.
Correct.
Okay, all right, and you are fired up to just present to Tobago what you guys have to offer in terms of Signal Hill class of 2009. I want to begin by asking you guys, do you consider your class the best class?
Let me answer this. Let me give you a politically correct answer. Every year, once you come from Signal Hill, was the best.
Really?
Excellent.
Every year.
Is it because it's the school on the hill?
Of course.
Right.
Anything from the hill is nothing but excellence.
Right. Individually though, what was your experience like in Signal Hill? Just share with the viewers.
I must say I had a wonderful experience in Signal Hill. My specialty was in arts. I enjoy performing, whether it's singing, dancing, acting.
So you could sing?
Yes, I can.
Right, so you would do something for us before you.
I had a really lovely experience. I had wonderful classmates, wonderful teachers. My experience was really great.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Right. All right, and what about you?
Well, truth be told, heralding on the fact that we just recently won the Intercol Nationals of females.
Congratulations.
Yes, we say congratulations to our alma mater. And with that, I was also the president of the Student Council. By extension, Miss Lincoln was also the president of the Student Council. So we have been given the opportunity to be able to harness our entrepreneurial spirit and by extension, our leadership qualities, which are very integral with us being able to come together as a year group to be able to promote Signal Hill to Tobago and by extension, Trinidad and Tobago. Because our reunion is scheduled for the 16th to the 18th of December.
Right.
And the main focus point is to allowing us the opportunity to be able to give back to less fortunate. So on the 17th, we'll be having a hamper distribution, all right? And we'll be giving back to a lot of different persons from different walks of life. We traverse from Crown Point, and we go all the way to Charlottesville, and then we conclude at Castara.
You all are walking all of that?
No, of course not.
I'm just kidding. But that's great to know that it's somewhat unconventional, because the traditionally a reunion everybody come together, they pick a place, they go, they eat, they drink, they talk, they reminisce on old times, have a nice program. But you guys want to give back, and that is great. What was the impetus or the reason behind this thing, and what motivated this?
Well, truth be told, unfortunately, we lost 3 members of our year group. Namely, Mr. Cassian Shepherd, all right, Mr. Brian Mutilal, and Mr. Akian Thomas. And with the passing of these 3 distinguished young men, we decided to be able to give back, all right, because life is very fragile. And we are definitely aware that being here in this moment is integral. And we do have to be able to give back to those around us and ensure that we spread that love, that unconditional love in whatever way we can.
And I'll say, piggybacking off of that, what we're trying to do is bring back that Tobago vibe. We were accustomed to that lend hand. Each one help one. That community spirit that we had, it's something that we want to bring back. We don't want to have that bad vibe. I call it a bad vibe that we had, but we want back that community spirit that I grew up on. Everyone looked out for one another. Each one helped one. It wasn't I can't speak to your child or correct your child. So we want back that Tobago-ness that we had. Is something we're trying to revive.
Right. I don't mean to be too hard on you guys with these questions, but I know you guys have recently convened and everything. But everybody has every school has its culture, and there's whatever stigma or notion you might want to attach to a particular school. Tell the viewers about Signal Hill and the Signal Hill culture that would have harnessed your potential that brought you to the seat here today.
Well, truth be told, the core values that exemplify Signal Hill will be one of respect
responsibility, and also academic excellence, because I sit at one of the highest pinnacles in terms of educational echelon within Tobago, where we had the opportunity to have a lot of different past students within the area of medicine. We have lawyers, we have educators. I sit in the capacity of an educator today. We have librarians, we have curators, we have a lot of different persons from different walks of life, entrepreneurs. And truth be told, we reached out into the community where we were able to have persons from different walks of life be able to give back, right? We have persons from, for example, past students, Metamorphosis, Slice, Plice, Dixie and Danielle, right? We have Anderson Taylor, who is giving back tremendously in order for this initiative to be a success. And we are thankful that we have the support of the auxiliary staff in comparison to the current principal, Mrs. Ford. Good morning. And by extension, our Vice Principal, Mr. King. We have the support of our teachers, all right? And we are very thankful, you know, because Signal Hill in itself stands for readiness is the key for success. So these principles and core values have shaped us to the professionals that we are today. So we say thank you.
Yes, and I see my producers are looking at you guys in awe. You know, and this is great, and this is what school spirit ought to be, especially in Tobago, because we are born leaders, right? I want to thank you guys for coming and sharing with us. Just to reiterate today, or to rehash to those who might have just joined, just tell us about the event that is coming up again and where it's taking place and etc.
Okay, so good morning again, Tobago. Signal Hill Alumni Class of 2009 will be hosting our first reunion kind of for the 16th to the 18th of December. We are excited, we are fired up, and on the 16th we'll be having a games night. On the 17th we'll be having our love drive, which will be taking place from Crown Point. We go all the way to Castara. We'll be giving out hampers to less fortunate families, and then we end at Castara with a grand bonfire. All right, on Sunday the 18th, we're expected to have worship at the Montgomery Moravian Church under the leadership of Reverend Esther Moore Roberts, who is also a past teacher and also a past form teacher of the A3 class. And then we conclude with a grand dinner at Fairways. So we have a lot in store, and we are thankful that we have the support of the current administration of Signal Hill Secondary, and by extension, the students of the year group of Signal Hill Secondary who made this event successful.
All right. And guys, there you have it. You can't have a better promotion than that. You know, and this is a clarion call for all other schools on the island. You know, foster great cohesiveness with your alumni here, and those who are past students. You know, remember your alma mater. Remember your alma mater. Give back, right? So, guys, I want to thank you guys for coming again. And guys, we up next. We have Good Morning Tobago with. Oh, my apologies. I jumped the gun there. But we have Miss Lorraine Edo, Early Childhood Center Supervisor, talking to us about holidays ideas for children on the Christmas break. So Brother Luke Trim will be doing that interview. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Lakai Home Services. We specialize in cleaning of carpets and rugs, mattresses, living room and dining room sets, vehicle detailing, cleaning and sanitizing of homes and commercial spaces. We also do landscaping and tree cutting, pressure and power washing, floor care, fumigating and air purifying. You can also call us for professional painting services, babysitting and adult sitting. Call us now 333-4430 at Mamai Lakai Home Services. We take cleaning to another level.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top class services. in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement, and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Exhale Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if you're nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Rest assured helped me to cope with the unexpected, provides financial help for final expenses. Rest assured, the affordable financial comfort plan, Tatil Life, guaranteed protection.
Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, if sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry, if times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning. Good
morning, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show. Now, if you've been paying attention to the buildings at work, you will notice that a lot of kids have been coming to work with their parents. However, on set we have with us today to talk about creative ways to keep the kids active during their vacation is Miss Lorraine Edu, no stranger to us here at Tobago Updates. A special morning to you, and how are you doing?
Good morning. I am good. Actually, Christmas time is one of my happiest time. So during the Christmas, you'll find me smiling a lot because I enjoy Christmas time.
That's really great. So, Miss Edu, I would have noticed that at work I'm seeing a lot of parents popping up with their kids. So the kids seems to be on vacation.
Yes.
I wish I was them. But nevertheless, what are some creative ways parents can keep their kids, their mind stimulated, keep them engaged?
Right. So it's Christmas time. And fortunately and unfortunately for some, the children have to be at home. The children are happy that school is closed. Yes. First and foremost, parents must understand, look, it is holiday time. So it means that schoolwork had to take a little rest. Not completely thrown out the door, but you had to put it on a little rest because they have been through a hectic school term. However, when they come home, it doesn't mean that you just laze around and do nothing. So it's Christmas time, and first on my list, every single child's room need a little sprucing up. You know how they just keep the room.
Yes.
And therefore, it's time to clean up the room and time to pack away stuff because it's Christmas we're getting ready for. So we can make that, you know, interesting, make it a little competition. If you have more than one children, you know, make it competitive, throw in a little reward here and there so that they can get the stuff doing but still feel excited about it, right? So that is my first thing on the list. Big children and small children can clean. And the bigger ones, they could help you move things in the yard, clean up the backyard, prepare for Christmas, you know, and stuff like that. Now, number 2 on my list, when you finish cleaning, you must decorate. Not so? Every child I know loves to decorate. You can make decorations, especially with the younger ones. There are a myriad of ideas on Google, you name it. You can buy the stuff and you will make decorations, make crafts and stuff like that. You can also buy and let the family come together and we decorate the tree, decorate the house, outside. Your teenagers can do the climbing like I did this weekend and hang up their lights and stuff like that. So look, you know, the bigger ones tend to feel as though it's not Christmas and all this thing is not for them. They tend to want to sit and lie down on the bed with their phone, their tablets.
They don't hear nothing about putting up curtain and
they don't want to hear anything about that, but they want the eating part. So we have to let them understand you can't eat if you don't work. So we have to set, you know, these things in place. As a follow-up to the decorating now, in the evening, the families can go sightseeing. Take the children, especially the younger ones, they love the lights, walk through the village or drive through the villages, let them see the different lights on houses, different decorations. You can talk about colors, you can talk about all kind of different things while you're doing a little sightseeing and stuff like that, so that they can be, you know, excited. And these are things working parents can do on evenings. Now, for parents who have to leave them home, it is important during this time that you know who you're leaving your children with. Be sure that they are safe. Maybe you might want to use an auntie, granny, somebody who can, you know, watch them that you're comfortable with, so that way you feel comfortable that you're at work.
Nice.
Now, there are some parents who don't have that luxury, so they have to take them with them to work, and that's what you're seeing happening.
Yes.
And we can't help that in some cases. But when afternoon time comes now and you're leaving work, take them on a little sightseeing, put things in place so that you can do afternoon stuff. Next on my list, I have your Christmas list. Make your grocery list. Take them to the grocery, go in and buy things to bake. You understand? They can read the list, learn their words. They ain't doing schoolwork, but they're learning.
Yes.
So they learn their words. You walk through the aisles. You make sure you pick up the correct things. If you're making cookies, you let them know ingredients for cake. You let them know ingredients for drinks and stuff like that. And you take that up. Then when you reach home now, you get them engaged in the activity of baking, creaming, and mixing, cutting, and or you teach them the terms while you're having fun in the kitchen. Now, some parents don't like this because the kitchen get nasty up and they don't clean for Christmas. But we're looking at creative ways to keep the children engaged, and the children are going to love this. Now, when you finish making all the cakes and the cookies, don't let them eat too much sweets. You have to watch that. You have to balance that with your fruits and stuff like that, because we don't want too many children getting sick, as we are having nowadays so much children, diabetes and all different lifestyle diseases. So we don't want that. We want them to be engaged. We want them to be excited about it, but we want them to be healthy in all of it, right? So you make sure that you kind of balance what they eat and what they do over the Christmas holiday.
That's excellent. So what are some other chores that the children could engage in? You've mentioned, you know, putting up the curtain. They could help because I consider baking a chore because at the end of the day, I had to fill my belly.
Yes.
So what are some other chores the children can engage in?
Right. So now, we just talk about visiting the grocery. What about visiting the market? Many of our children, and they don't have to see it as a chore. Now, the word chore, especially to teenagers, is like bad word.
Yeah.
My 2 children are teenagers and they don't like the word chore. So let them know, all right, we're going to the market. Some of them don't have a clue what sorrel look like. They don't know what ginger look like for the ginger beer. They don't know the difference between currants, raisins, the fruits for the cake, but they love the cake. So all these things, the grinding, we need to teach them some of these things and bring back some of these things into the whole Christmas for our children so that they can understand. So when they go to the market or the grocery and they get their stuff, when they come home, teach them how to clean a little sorrel now, teach them how to cut up a little ginger for the ginger beer, teach them these things. Don't call them chores, just tell them we're making goodies for Christmas. We're having fun for Christmas. So that is the way that you're going to creatively engage them. And on top of that, Luke, they also have a number of Christmas activities going on across the islands. It's treat here, concert here, and Christmas extravaganza. They have lighting up here all over the place. Make it a family excursion. Visit, sit down and decide which tour we're going to partake in. And you take the family out, let them explore and enjoy themselves during the Christmas. And one thing I forgot to mention, Luke, long time they had dirt ovens. There are some villages that still have dirt ovens. It would be nice to take the children to see how to bake at a dirt oven.
That would be really great.
It would be really lovely. Even our teenagers don't have a clue. We used to have to go and look for the sticks and the wood to put in the dirt oven. And you have to lift that and carry it home for mommy to light up the oven and heat it up and stuff like that. They don't know nothing about that. Give them these experience. Everybody's saying things change in children different, but we are not exposing them to the old time days and some of the things that are still good for them, right? And look, I have my last 2 points to me are the most important. Christmas is all about Jesus. If there wasn't Jesus, there would be no Christmas.
Amen.
And therefore, going to church and taking the children to church for Jesus' birthday, to me, is the heart of Christmas.
Nice.
But we kind of teach the children that Christmas is all about cleaning, decorating, receiving toys and gifts. And that's it. Christmas is about Jesus. So if you really want to get children creatively engaged in Christmas, teach them that Christmas is about Jesus. God gave us his only son. The season is about sharing and giving. So therefore, that is what we want you to take out of the whole Christmas experience. And that brings me to my last point, which is the giving and the sharing. That is what Christmas is all about. Yes. We need to develop in our children the sense of belonging, the sense of nation building, the sense of community. Christmas is a time when you buy them a lot of stuff and they're receiving. Well, they have plenty stuff that are still good, lightly used, that they can donate and give away. Nice. Teach them how to pack boxes and give to less fortunate children. Teach them when they finish, make goodies. My mom, the older people in our community used to wait for the one cake, the one sweet bread, and then on Christmas Day, the cuckoo, the pork, the callaloo, cooked, packaged, and we have to do the distribution.
That's nice.
Even when I was an adult and you see mommy call me, even if I in work and mommy call me to go and drop off for them 3 old people, I had to leave the government work, you know. Because if you make evening reach and you ain't come to carry them with real food, you ain't hearing the end of it from mommy and all she did for you. And now you come so ungrateful and feel your reach. You can't go and, oh my God. So I couldn't deal with mommy and she prayers. So when she called as make lunchtime, I go on, collect those food, those goodies, and I drop off. And the old people used to be so happy to receive it. I used to feel good about about doing it. So we need to bring that back and teach our children that to give back is what makes communities, what builds back the nation. We want change, but what are we doing with our children to instigate and to instill this kind of change in them? So this Christmas, when you're thinking about creative ways to engage your children and to keep them excited about this season and all of that, remember, giving back is a big part of that. Donating is a big part of that. Making hampers and giving away, big part, yes. So not only the receiving, they must learn to give.
So, Miss Sidu, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know the parents and guardians probably they're jotting down more creative ways than bringing their children to. So, Miss Sidu, I want to thank you once again for joining us. So, viewers, we have come to the end of our Youth Wednesdays here at Tobago Update. Now, I want to thank you all for joining us. We had a really great and informative show today. Now, don't go yet. We will be heading over to Good Morning Tobago with Candice Jackson as she brings on political leader for the Progressive Democratic Patriots, Watson Duke, for the topic, This is PDP. Once again, I am Luke Trim, and thank you so much for joining us. And remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
October was World Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and as customary, Tobago did its part in spreading awareness. The island celebrated the occasion with its annual Body Walk. This year, the island celebrated its 10th year with the theme, We Speak So Our Children Could Be Heard. The initiative was hosted by the Down Syndrome Family Network. It highlighted the importance of supporting people with special needs. The day was filled with dance, music, and color.
It's not just a mindset change, but we also need legislation to help people understand that mindset. Otherwise, we as parents, our children, and other adults living with disabilities will just have to wait and accept the charity and the concessions offered by the people who care. And those who don't care will not be made to care.
Events like the walk help to push Down syndrome awareness into the forefront of the national agenda. It invites the public to walk a mile along with someone with Down syndrome, or for organizations to advocate for persons with disabilities. The most important aspect of awareness is the goal of inclusiveness, ensuring children living with Down syndrome or disabilities in general aren't excluded from typical childhood activities.
As parents and as a society, what we need to do is give them every single opportunity. We as parents have to be constantly advocating, constantly talking to everyone, constantly speaking to the teachers, asking for their help with working with our kids, letting them know that having our children in an inclusive educational setting will not only mean more work for them. It would mean a more understanding community where people who attend school with someone with a disability could understand, hey, this person isn't what they thought they were.
Having a support system is paramount. The Education Division is pledging its support to persons with disabilities.
The Division of Education is committed to providing that support, whether it's through our special schools or partnering with our various stakeholders out there that provide education to our children. And we are looking at inclusive education. Don't exclude them.
I'm Marlon Gotsleben for Let's Talk Tobago.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Na, 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 na. Good morning, Tobago. Na, 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 na.
to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. Members of the Tobago Secondary School alumni are calling for immediate action to address serious infrastructural problems at the school. In a press release, the alumni stated they were fed up with the unfulfilled promises made by administration after administration and wanted the THA to be honest with them. They called for answers regarding the acquisition of land to construct a new school, the plans for financing, and the designs. The THA has until Tuesday, 3rd January 2023 before the alumni will take further action. And in some more politics news, the PDP recorded more resignations from its executive council. The latest resignation was the party's general secretary, Natasha Ann Second, who also held positions of chairman of the West Constituency Council and chairman of the Scarborough-Calder Hall party group. Second stated that there is no longer any democracy in the party and she does not agree with its current direction. Within the last few days, the party's deputy chairman, Andrew Cowan, and its elections officer, Otis Noel, also resigned. These resignations follow that of Chief Secretary Fali Augustine and the entire THA Executive Council from the party last week. And nationally, the Attorney General moved to appeal a High Court judgment that prevents Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley from laying the firearm users license audit report in Parliament. Former Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith filed the injunction. Justice Devendra Rampasad pointed out that despite assurances, the contents of the audit would not be laid in Parliament. No undertaking was given of such in court. She agreed with Griffith's claim and stated that, given the gravity of the public allegations, premature publication of the report would have far-reaching consequences. And that was in news in 90 seconds. And I know, viewers, you're all primed up and ready. And yes, he is here, none other than PDP political leader and the Assemblyman for Roxborough Argyle, Mr. Watson Duke. So good morning and welcome to you, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning, Candace Jackson. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad, the wider world. This is your boy, Watson Duke here.
And we are so happy to have you here. And it's been a while since we've had you on set. So there are quite a lot of things to cover this morning. And Mr. Duke said he's going to give us full authority this morning. So he's ready to answer any of the questions. And there's certainly quite a lot. So I want to get started with sort of the genesis to this whole situation, or what happened between you and Mr. Augustine and the whole public fallout. So before that whole New York trip, there are indications that there were problems between the relationship with you and Mr. Augustine. Would you be able to share with us what were some of the things that were happening behind the scenes?
Well, let me put it this way to you. I want to speak to Tobago's business. I think that Fali is of no moment to me. The people of Tobago at the elections next will decide his fate. But for me, Tobago's business needs to be taken seriously by a serious group of individuals. So while I wish to speak about what would have happened, let me just say this on the matter, that Fali Chavez Augustine cannot change. He is who he is. And I've told him that on several occasions. My wish, my desire, my prayer was that having a group of persons around him and having the opportunity to lead Tobago, he would change. You know, sometimes greater responsibility brings a certain level of maturity in people, particularly young people. When you're home, you may tend not to wash the wares, you don't cook, you don't do nothing, you're lazy. But when you go to college and you're on your own, you recognize the level of responsibility that you should have had before. You now need to put that into first gear, second gear, third gear, then fourth gear. So slowly, that person who was basically an idle person at home becomes involved in their own well-being and the well-being of those who sent him. It was my earnest desire and prayer that Farley would have become into that mature person, that person who is focused on Tobago's business. I could tell you from out front, at this point in time, I have no sour grapes. My only sour grapes is that they are not doing the work. Remember, PDP is a far successful party, more successful than any other party in this country. All right? At our first elections in 2017, we took 2 seats from the PNM who had 12. We broke the deadlock. I personally entered the space when there was silence, 12-0, and I became the agitator. I became the voice of reasoning, and then we got 2 seats. Dr. Faith failed. I brought her in. That's the kind of person I am. I believe in people. I believe in persons who are just ordinary. I believe I can make ordinary persons extraordinary. So Dr. Faith, Farley, or all of them inside the group, they were simply persons who were unknown in the wider sphere of our society, largely unknown. Farley was a school teacher, teaching 20 children, going to a church with about 15 members. You know, not a high-ranking official. Good? But I felt that Tobago needed young people who see the future as their own and will lend ownership to it. Not for themselves, but for the greater majority of young people. So I create a fusion between young and old, some with degrees and some without O levels. We said we want the ordinary man to be inside also too, because governance also at that level of decision making belongs to him. And so we put some guys in there without any O levels. They are now secretaries. Who would have done those things? But Watson Duke. We created a microcosm of what Tobago looks like. All 60,000 of us look like. And we put it together. My only request, my only prayer was that they do the work. Now we have won the elections in January, in December. Well, January we got 6-6. In December last year we got 14-1. That can't be erased. It cannot be erased. PDP won the elections. That can't be erased. That can't change. So whether they become independents, whether they become the shoe mouth party, whatever they become, it does not matter. They cannot change that history. The election is over. And I wish my young brother Farley Augustine would understand that the elections are over.
Now, on that point, there seems to be 2 views as to what it means by the elections are over. So Mr. Augustine would have said, yes, the elections are over, and then he is continuing serving the people to the best of the ability. Now, what do you mean when you say that the elections are over? What is your idea of how do you serve after election?
Well, let me say first of all, elections are that point when persons offer themselves to the public and the public decide. That's what elections are about, right? And so you have teams, you have different machinery that goes into the people, etc., etc. That's over. Trying to form a band of independents is senseless, right? It's over. Trying to put yourself out as some great leader, that's senseless. The time will come when we will deal with that in the public domain. But for now, his primary focus should be serving the people. Where is the Tobago office in Trinidad? Where is the autonomy issue? Has it been advanced? The answer is no. Of persons going to Trinidad and solve the problem, and he's saying he will now talk to Dr. Rowley on the matter. I'm asking myself, did Tobago vote for that? For him to sit and talk to Dr. Rowley? Let me tell you this, before we even had that long conversation with himself and Dr. Rowley, we sat down as a team and we said, look, we are going to defy that law that says you can't go to the beach and bathe. Because simply put, Tobago has jurisdiction over 6 miles of the sea, including the shore. And they have administrative authority over that. Anything beyond that is Trinidad. And that's written in the Tobago House of Assembly Act, which means a superior law to any regulations they make, which are secondary laws. And we explained that. I said, look, we should have the matter debated in the House of Assembly. and pass a resolution on it, and then we all should go to the beach and take a bath. That is reclaiming your autonomy. If they give us that, we must operate in the full ambit of that. You know what he did? He went and had a meeting with Dr. Rowley. Come and say to us, well, the Prime Minister relaxed the hours to maybe some, I don't know what hours he put it at, maybe till 12 o'clock or something like that.
Yes.
And that was a madness. This is how he's selling Tobago short. That was not the idea. We have had many issues for Tobago to advance itself. When the finance minister spoke about the increase in airfares and boat fares, you know what his response was? Very careless. The response of a child. He said, well, tourists should pay more. Are you trying to turn tourists off by jacking the price up for them? When that's the standard price? You don't want to add more to the tourists? That does not make sense. It's not one who is ready for leadership. It's not one who is listening to the ground.
So
what should have been the response to? I mean, just say the response. The response should have been the THA, in the first instance, will subsidize the cost of all emergency situations for Tobagonians, right? So all situations are deemed emergency. We'll step our office for that and we'll subsidize the cost. We would pay the difference because number one, we hardly have job opportunities here. Two, the salaries are very poor in Tobago. So that's going to be the first response. And then we will continue treating with the matter with Trinidadians because we depend on Trinidadians coming across here more frequently. Yeah, so we want to encourage them. So whereas we are subsidizing big airlines, Virgin Atlantic, Condor, etc., for empty seats, right? We are saying we can subsidize it for Trinidad because we benefit more from Trinidadians because the numbers are more, yeah, than those on the Virgin Atlantic and the Condor, etc. So he should have spoken something that speak directly to the economy. He didn't do that. He went off on a showboating thing on his own, you know. We have our carnival here. And so now the truck drivers are not paid. How could you do that? How often these truck drivers have work to do? Amount of flatbed he can't tote gravel and aggregate, you know. The most you could do is tote one and two little furnitures, one and two little grocery items. But that's far-fetched and that's in between. How do we treat with them with the bills that are owed? Why are you not paying them? Why is it a singer has to come out and cry tears for you to pay your local singers? Why is it that you sent Vanilla Allen to quite to the States and never give them a cent, but said they gave $400,000 to it? Why are you doing these things to Tobagans? Why are you issuing bounce check and then you send your chiefs, chief accountant, chief advisor, and then say, oh, it's a technical matter? Why didn't you issue a press statement? From the time you get the first bounce check, you should have drilled down as a mature politician, drill down into your system, recognize what the problem, and you put out a public statement. That's what politics is. This has more to do with politics than with technical responses, you know. What they gave this morning is a technical response. The public wants to know that the politician is still responsible for talking to them.
Now, I want to get from you, in light of that matter, how much power do you think that the politicians, or how much do you think the politicians should be involved in things like accounting and that sort of thing to make sure that, you know, the checks go out and they can be cashed, that, you know, the accounts are managed properly? How much should the politicians get involved, especially when there is supposed to be that level of separation between the administration and the policymakers?
Well, once the politicians are responsible for policy, that's everything. It is policy that drive workers. Public officers respond to policy. For years, THA should have created its own financial policies. There are none. 1 year later, there is none. Imagine the boy that we have for chief secretary, I would say that, rushed to the parliament with a premature audit. And I say Tobago Parliament, that is the House of Assembly.
Yes.
Showboating, insulting contractors, belittling them, calling up the name of the deputy chief secretary at that point in time. What are you doing that for? We have seen yesterday where Gary Griffith got an injunction preventing the Prime Minister from going to the Parliament with a premature report. Premature report should not come to a secret house at the legislature house. These are serious things and they have far-reaching consequences that may never be undone. For you, the politician, you have the cover of parliament, you have the protection of parliament, but for the man in the street, he's unprotected. And one should be careful how they treat with their own Tobagonians, given the fact it's an audit report about Tobagonians. Whether you're PNM or whatever, you have to respect these are businessmen and they are as good as their name. But when you put a child to lead who doesn't recognize the importance of leadership and being a man, this is what we have. Farley is an abject failure, but I'm on the people's business. So if you hear me a little bit passionate this morning,
that's okay.
It's because of the people's business not being attended to.
Yes.
While he's up and down the place, Starboy.
Now, I want to address the claim that, you wanted a lot of things done, but it was not able to be done because there's a system in place, and that public service system comes with a lot of red tape and a lot of bureaucracy, and you're constantly told, no, you can't just snap your fingers and make something happen. There is a process. What are your views on that?
That's not truth.
That's not true.
That's a misrepresentation.
So then what is the truth?
Let me tell you this. I've spent 12 years at the highest echelon of the public service. You don't get higher than me in the public service. Not even the head of the public service is higher than the PSA president, because we are responsible for all different stratas. You see, the head, he just surrounds himself with maybe the prime minister and what goes on at that level. But we go down at the bottom and at the tip it up. We defend workers. All right, so I know the public service inside out. And while there is bureaucracy, the bureaucracy is there to avoid corruption.
Certainly.
All right, but the bureaucracy is not there to prevent things from being done. Things can be done. And this is why you create certain things like a method statement, certain things like a desk manual, etc. And you keep training and retraining people to ensure that they can get the thing done. But if you allow someone who is not trained to train someone who is not trained, then you have a watered down version of the untrained. And so there's nothing in Tobago to train people. There's nothing to say that this has a particular timeline on every desk, bam, 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 that this is the way it flows. There's nothing to say that. So we have these neophytes entering office, and instead of learning the work, they're engaging in politics. They're trying to fight their political leader. They're trying to look for supremacy. But the elections are over. PDP won. History will always remain that way at that particular time. The future will be determined by how Tobagonians view his delivery on a mandate, but he's not delivering on a mandate. An important thing that we campaigned on, an important thing that the PDM lost on was our autonomy. Where is the autonomy? How have we advanced that issue? It has not been advanced.
No, they would say that that was your responsibility under the portfolio of
the
Chief Secretary. So what were you able to do over the past year to advance that call of autonomy under that portfolio?
Not one thing.
Why?
Because the Chief Secretary never allowed one thing to happen there.
Could you explain further?
For example, when we had the coming out of COVID, we had 6 flights, etc. These are things for the Deputy Chief Secretary to negotiate with. Anything that deals with Trinidad, relations with Tobago, that's for the Deputy Chief Secretary. Because in every single thing, you ought to push for more control, more say, more involvement. All right? So when he leaves and he says he's talking to Caribbean Airlines and he's talking to the Prime Minister about airlines, I mean, that's nonsense. You're watering down the position of Chief Secretary. You ought to have dignified meetings that are properly minuted with the Prime Minister, not to go by his residence in short pants and feel it's a alignment thing. These are no kick things, these are no fun things, this is governance. Every meeting you have with the Prime Minister ought to be properly minuted and to be taken seriously. You ought not to meet by the Prime Minister by yourself. This is a serious meeting. Would the Prime Minister meet with another political leader by himself? No. Would the Prime Minister meet with a world leader by himself? No. Why are you being a neophyte not taking advice? You know, when the Prime Minister met the third time, the first time was a short pass, next time he met by his house again. And the third time is when they came across with a group of persons saying that they want to digitize Tobago, etc. We have a chat, an assemblyman chat. He came to the chat the day before and said the Prime Minister is coming up tomorrow. And he asked that we bring 4 persons to the chat. And he's going to determine who those 4 persons are. Well, I am political lead, I'm Deputy Chief. I say no more. No conversation was had with me. I was not selected to go, the most experienced person who understands public service inside out, the one that could speak to them head on issues. We brought with him neophytes. Neophytes. What came out of that? Nothing. He brought 4, the Prime Minister brought 10. You see the difference? Let me tell a different story. When I was the president of the PSA, and he was dealing with the customs and inland revenue, they wanted to form the revenue authority. And we said, no, you have to consult with us. We forced a meeting. And in that meeting, the finance minister, now Colonel Imbert, said to me, Watson, could only work with 3 persons. I work with 10 persons. When inside, he said, I told you to work with 3 persons. I said, hey, know your place. I said, this is not your meeting. This is our meeting. You work with who you want to work with. I must work with who I want to work with. These are the rules of meeting. Nobody can tell you who to work with. You work with whoever you want with. That's your team. You are self-sufficient with that team. But being a child, the place to learn is not on the job. Right?
So then, I mean, in that case, do you think that you made a wrong decision, or do you regret choosing?
I did make a wrong decision, of course, in hindsight, because I felt the team would have been able to support him, right? And not support him insofar as blind support, but say, hey, you're going wrong. Hey, let's do this the right way. Let's do it this way, because he's consulting. He's talking with them. But wherever he say goes. And it makes me wonder the state of mind of persons in that team and whether they are being operating under duress or whatever, or some promissory note of some golden gift card or something, golden parachute, some nice exit. I'm not sure. But these are not reasonable people. Let's take the issue with the 27 persons who were hungry abroad. That has always been Watson Duke, and I will always be my way. But I'm Prime Minister or not, people hungry and they're out of the country, we have to feed them. You deal with them when you come home. You pull them in a room and make noise. But you're outside there, our responsibility, our people. You have to put your people first. And so I called him on the phone. I said, look, there's some people out here hungry. I said, what are we doing? It was an executive meeting, of course. He said, well, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's a long process. You know, it can't be done now. I said, nah, man, you can make a phone call and make it happen.
Wait, okay,
You can make a phone call.
I want you to elaborate that a little bit. Exactly what could have been done that was...
All right.
Yes.
Now, remember, I was the PSA president, right?
Yes.
And the THA's joke to the PSA president is 80,000 representatives all over the country. Right? That is joke. He managed 2.5, he managed all the budgets because we work with the government to manage all the budgets. So, what should have happened? He said, okay, we're going to deal with it. Call the executive, have a situation up there, saying we have a situation up there, and let us commit someone to provide them with the food, and we will commit to provide the resources thereafter. Whether it be a note or whatever, he can take action at that executive meeting to say, all right, so once they agree on that, and say, okay, we're going to commit someone with the responsibility to feed them, and we're going to deal with the consequences after of that, right? Then that's voted on and immediately goes into action right away. There's an emergency fund called a contingency fund. You don't have to look for money for that, all right? That's a contingency fund. You remember when but one of our former leaders, Mr. London, when he was chief secretary, and they had to pay CPAP workers, and they went into the contingency fund, and the folks were complaining. He said, no, it's an emergency fund. Paying the workers is an emergency.
But, I mean, one can argue that, I mean, paying CPAP workers that are employed by the THA is a different situation than a cultural group.
Feeding, no, forget the cultural group. That's immaterial. It's Tobagonians first. The cultural group, that was the reason for the visit. If you didn't want the cultural group to visit, then you should not have participated. But once you have Tobagonians out, it does not matter who. You have to protect them.
I also want to ask
That's the responsibility of a leader. And that's why he's not a leader. He's not a leader because he's not seen that responsibility. Forget the cultural group. Once you have your people out there, you protect them. Look at America. A young girl playing basketball, smoking a weed, the whole in Russia try her, put her in prison. Maximum. Which people deem as unreasonable. America decided to swap a prisoner, you know. They swap what we will deem a high-risk prisoner in exchange for a girl who was no threat. Because that young lady is important to America. What is important to you? Is it people or is it principles? How come when they wanted to do this little link road from Smithfield to Dutch Fort,
But Mr. Duke,
overnight,
before
they
we
passed $20 million for that? How come they did that? Where was the procedure then? Where was the process to build that nonsense out in the sea out there for how much millions of dollars?
But the claim for those projects was that it's
Emergency?
No, that it was a build finance,
No.
there's a financing
I'm talking
after.
about the urgency, Candice. Let's get it straight. Let's not mix up our rice with
So
our
that,
peas.
I mean, what essentially that the money is not being afforded to them right away. The money would be afforded
That
to them
doesn't
later.
matter. The problem is they have committed expenses. That doesn't matter, It has to pay. When you commit money to people, that is good as gold. You have to pay it. So that is no deal you're making there. Number one, the cost is more because the fact you have to pay over time is always more. When you buy anything on layaway plan, any average Joe or Jill knows that. You buy anything on a layaway plan, it takes you more money, right? So they are spending more money for a service that will cost less. So let them don't try to fool us. The thing is, it was not an emergency, but they made it an emergency and they flout the rules to get that done. No one was hungry there. A contractor maybe was hungry, but no one was hungry. 27 of your people are hungry in America. Undisputed fact.
Now, I want to ask you something on that because there's a claim that not all of that group were Tobagonians. There's a claim that some of them were from a group in perhaps Lavantillo or somewhere about that area. Were all 27 Tobagonians?
Well, all I saw was Tobagonians. I've met them on several occasions. I saw was Tobagonians, right? And
So there's no truth to that claim that they were Trinidadians.
well, I'm saying all I saw was Tobagonians. And if they were Trinidadians and that claim, then why the Secretary of Finance, who is the same Chief Secretary, why he paid the bill for all of them in the first place? If you send them out there, it doesn't matter. Once you send them out there, once you pay that airfare for them to go out there, you are responsible. You cannot wash your hands and say, like Pontius Pilate, you have done nothing wrong.
And then what about, I mean, you being there, and why not you perhaps pay or help them with just the immediate need, and then
I did leave some monies with them, but more than that, I have a bill that was paid. He told me to pay, and I've never gotten my money back. I went out there, I've got no per diem, and I spent my money. But that's beside the point. I'm not here to talk about myself and how much they owe me and backlash. I'm just saying Tobagonians must be treated a particular way. We campaign on putting Tobagonians on a pedestal, put them high.
But they did get money. I mean, they did
not.
Well, they
receive
got,
a
at
single
least they got
cent.
their airfare.
They got nothing. That is a transaction between the House of Assembly and the travel agency. Whether they have been paid, we do not know. They got nothing. What they got to is the opportunity to go to America, courtesy the THA. But the THA abandoned its responsibility thereafter. That should not be the case. If you send a child to school and the maxi break down, you can't say, well, I send her to school, walk the rest. No.
But then, I mean,
you must
there's
see
also the claim that
the action through.
But it's also the claim that the THA does not have the responsibility to make sure that you can eat and so on when you travel for something that was not under the umbrella of the THA, because this matter, I mean, so there's a group that wants to go and represent Tobago. They asked for assistance. They got assistance in the form of airfare. So then they should have been able to take care of, the rest of their expenses themselves. How do you retreat with that argument?
Well, they did try. But then it became impractical after a while. They stayed in a basement, right? And they tried to buy their meals. After 5 days, they were moved out of there to a better place. And now their money were dwindling. And someone had to step in. Now, let's not make this too much a big issue.
But I mean, there's still an issue that they had a responsibility themselves to fund them, to fund their trip there.
Again, I'm saying to you, that's a matter for back home. When they come home, you deal with that. But once, as a leader, I'm a leader, me no joking man, I'm a leader. You have to see things through and treat your people with dignity. Fundamental, non-negotiable. Once you send a delegation out there, Whether they have the wherewithal or not, you must see them through and see them come back, and then you could deal with them. But otherwise than that, you can't send them. That's why you ought to sit down and ensure, all right, let me see what you have. Let me see if you have this. Let me see if you have that. Let me see if you have the next.
So then
Yeah?
it's in that case, should the THA not have funded their airfare? Because if they did not have
Now,
the finances to take care of their stay there, then they.
No,
Is that what you're saying?
I'm not the moderator, but this issue is lasting a little too long. The issue I've made, and I'll continue to make the issue, it's about Tobagonians first, and no one should place Tobagonians in a position where it's uncomfortable and then retreat. We must continue to surround them and protect them until they're back at a safe place where we can therefore treat with them in now along as to what they do right and what they did wrong in that kind of manner. But you don't try to deal that outside there. How come they give that contractor overnight? And I see you're skirting that issue. How come they give that contractor?
I mean, we're going to deal with that.
How come
because,
they give
no,
that
I
contractor
wanted to deal with this issue
$19
because
million to cross Alto Ravine overnight? How come they went on this? They encroached on the beach of Scarborough, the only beach in Scarborough, putting big boulders there without EMAs, a law. They broke the law. What is the urgency? What is the emergency? You are skirting those big issues. Those issues are Tobago issues. Those are monies being spent on single projects, single man, single contractor. You can't compare that with 27 persons who are not connected, but by a group to eat. So let's get it right. Again, my point here this morning is not to deal with Farley Chavez Augustine, but to deal with the issue of Tobagonians being placed first within the THA.
But in that case, then how were Tobagonians placed first in a situation where you were unhappy or you were not satisfied with the response of the THA, and then you decided to come out in the public, release a video, and basically chastising and, you know, calling out Mr. Augustine?
I never called him out. I said the executive of the THA is charged with the responsibility of bread and butter politics.
But then how does that...
of which I am part. So it's not one where I remove myself. I said, and we must treat with this issue.
But then how does that be in the best interest of the people of Tobago to see their leaders fight like that in a very public manner?
Is that a fight? Come on.
Well, that's how the rest of the people of Tobago see it.
No. If famous Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on stage, millions of persons saw it. Was that a fight?
Okay, so then
Was it a fight?
Oh, I mean, it's a public dispute then. So then...
Was that a dispute? No. The thing is,
so there was
as the political leader and as the deputy chief secretary with the responsibility at that time for the diaspora, our diaspora was outside there. And I called him on the phone and he's not doing anything about it. He's sidestepping the issue. I cannot, in all good conscience, go to sleep and say, well, maybe somewhere along the line, they could deal with that. I had to do what I had to do. And what I did not warrant that response from him. As my junior colleague, he should know his place. All he should have said is, if media pressing him, that's a internal matter and we deal with that.
But then why did you not keep it internal yourself? I mean, because then he would not have a need to come out in the public and make a public response if you did not make the public call.
No, it doesn't work like that. Even if I make a response outside, that does not give him the responsibility or the authority to act in such manner. It's like you telling your child, well, if do hit me back, and he's saying to you, well, if I didn't hit mommy, I wouldn't hit you back.
But then why hit?
Right? If you hit your child, I'm not advancing violence against children. But if you correct your child, and a child answers back to you in a derogatory manner, as if he's trying to say, don't talk to me. How does that match up as good?
So was Mr. Augustine supposed to, not address it publicly?
In all fairness to yourself and to the people of Tobago, I do not want you from this platform to use it to preach indiscipline, party indiscipline. Regardless of whatever the situation is, he ought to have said, that's a party matter, we will deal with that. And when I come back, we could cuss, we could fight, we could whatever. That's the way you deal with party matters. All right? it doesn't matter what I said, right? The matter is that should have been dealt with in a different manner. But he just didn't say, well, that, he threatened. But again, this is not the issue I'm here about. Farley is immaterial. The
Yes,
PDP
but I mean, you may
won
say
the
that, but I
elections,
mean, the people of
and we
Tobago
are.
believe differently. And you know, a lot of them, they
don't
are
know.
concerned with these issues.
I don't know what survey you have done, right? I don't know if you're a politician and you have action groups all over the place. Maybe, I don't know. You may just walk tongue and see the same people over and over in circulation and hear them talking. I can tell you, I've traversed the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm all in the nooks and the crannies talking to people, the people who are real, the earth movers and who move around. And they're disappointed with the leadership of Farley. They're disappointed with the way he views Tobagonians and the way he treats Tobagonians. They have gotten nothing. A lot of persons would have worked hard, expecting change, got nothing. They believe it's the same PNM leading Tobago. And that's the reality of it, right? It's not about Watson Duke. Remember, I did the right thing. I said, look, I am resigning from the position. Because imagine, he's telling his political leader, come and fight me. Come and fight me in the public. Call a no confidence motion in me. Come and fight me. Could that make sense?
But Mr. Duke, you also said, you know, get out, if you don't agree, get out my party, get out my party. So they resigned. They did what you wanted them to do. So then how is this political?
Hold on, Candace. You're whooping. You're going all over the place. Simmer down.
No, I'm responding.
We're talking here about he's trying to fight the political leader, my resignation.
But
so we have dealt with that issue of the food issue, the humanitarian issue, which was kind of long, and now we're dealing with the resignation issue. And I said, I certainly didn't like the way he was speaking to me.
Okay.
The way he was challenging me, come and fight him, call a no confidence motion. And I said, look, and before that I've said, hey, come smoke the peace pipe, drink some cooling bush, let me talk, let me work this out, let me talk. No, he's clenching his face is hard, he's ready to fight, all over the place. He have everybody backing him. Call a no confidence motion. I said, look, this is not something good in the public space. So what I did, I resigned my position. Good? And that was that. Now I thought that when I resigned, that those who took up the position would continue to advance and articulate things on behalf of Tobago. But that department is dead. Because you cannot take a deputy chief secretary and give them any other position. What you do, you are cancelling out the position of a deputy chief secretary with a lower position. So if a deputy chief secretary cannot be for health and all social services, you're cancelling out those duties. And what has happened with those duties of a chief secretary, of a deputy chief secretary? What has happened to the monitoring and evaluation unit? What has happened to the energy issues, energy department? What has happened to the Tobago and Trinidad autonomy issue? What happened to those issues? Nothing. Silence. Dead. He has truncated all of that. Isn't there a responsibility to Tobagonians to say who are not responsible for those and what has happened? What happened to Mandate Monday? That was supposed to be a quarterly matter, where every quarter you come out. And so the first time they did it was in March, April, around there.
The second one was in the house.
Right?
That's
No. The second one, Mandate Monday, is not something in the house. It's where you sit around a table and they discuss. So the second one was somewhere later on in maybe October.
So you're trying to say that the one that happened for the budget statement, that does not count? Okay.
Everybody will do that. They're given account, really. Right? So they've only held two when there were 4 quarters for the entire year. Right? Now, you have made things worse. You have hardly delivered on your mandate. You have now gone into a realm where you have no mandate to lead Tobago. No mandate. The people can't hold you accountable, Tobagonians can't hold you accountable. And you were saying, look, be ready to lead. How could you have the moral authority to command the democratic will of the Tobago people when the Tobago people voted democratically for a very straightforward idea, a straightforward plan? How come all of a sudden you sidestep that and said the 13 of us who are elected, we are going to operate and do what? What's their mandate? Let me tell you what an independent candidate is. For most of you who do not know, you may not know. An independent candidate is a party by himself. Every independent candidate is a full party by his or herself.
No,
and so we have 12 parties, 13 individual parties coming together saying we support this one man. That's not truly independent candidates.
But I mean, they are saying that they are able to still continue with that mandate. They are still putting some of those things in place that they campaigned on. So, I mean, you know, they can operate on that which what the people trusted them to do.
That's not good enough.
That's not good enough. So then what is good enough?
What they ought to say is, look, this is now our mandate. Put it in writing and publish it in newspapers. Buy 2-3 papers and publish it. So again, the young man does not know what he's doing, right? He's wild, he's just brash, and he's into theatrics. You just can't talk and say, well, we're gonna do some things in the mandate. What are some things in the mandate? Who determine what those things are? Are there any public consultation? This is governance, you know, Candice. This is not some joking. It's not some.
So then, what was the meetings like? I want to get from you. What were the meetings like? Executive council meetings in terms of putting those things in place, putting those deliverables into place that you guys campaigned on. I mean, there were a lot that was promised, and obviously, not everything can happen right away.
Executive meetings were a joke. They were a sham.
Were a joke. Why do you say it was a joke?
A sham. Because I'm an action man. Watson Duke is an action man. I'm bred for action. You know, I'm not bred to lie back and get fat and them kind of stuff. I'm an action man. And so at the executive meetings, without going into details, most of the time would be spent hiring people. Most of the time hiring people on contract, whether they're renewing contracts or new contracts. Most of the time would be doing that.
But when you say that, I mean, those are some of the things that need to happen then to then action out some of the plans that you guys have?
An executive meeting is more than hiring people. You can create a human resource committee that goes through all of that. And then when they bring that, they just bring the bunch, and the bunch is accepted like that. You know what I mean? So that's why you have a board, which is what the executive committee is really a board for Tobago, that manages these things. You don't have to go through these things one by one by one by one. You know, it takes time. There must be some part in the executive meeting also too, where you look at your overall trajectory as to where you are and where you want to go for Tobago. And then you must have that pathway. Say, all right, let's twist a little bit here. Let's come here. Let's do this. There's no planning. There's no planning for Tobago at those executive meetings. You have to plan. There's no master plan for Tobago at those executive meetings. This is why Tobago is still without its own financial regulations. The Tobago Self-Assembly should have its own financial regulations, and there is none. There is none. After 22 years, there is none. 21 years of PNM, 1 year of PDP, and maybe the rest going to be independent. But there is none. But
again, I mean, there is a process for everything to happen, and
you are dodging the responsibility, and that cannot be a fair comment you're making.
So then what? Okay, so then what needs to happen? What needs to happen for that to happen? Okay, what needs to happen for there to be an immediate implementation of that finance committee?
Well, again, you have a finance department. They draft up the rules, right? Because they are the finance department, they have the wherewithal there. They then bring the rules to the executive, and you could call executive as often as you want to. So in my mind, you create an executive council just for that specific. You may want to go into retreat because it's deep stuff. And you have the finance committee or whosoever prepared the rules going through. We ask questions, we spend a day or two on it. And then we agree at the executive level. We then bring it to the House and we give it the official stamp of the legislature and say, look, and that's it. This is no hard and fast stuff, right? The same amount of time I spend doing an audit, you could have a group of persons working on these financial regulations specific to Tobago. But again, the young man, he doesn't know how to lead. He's young, he's wild, and he's quick to talk on his mouth, but he's slow in thinking. And so therefore, what we have here is a misrepresented island called Tobago House of Assembly. It's totally misrepresented. There's not one person in that 13 that represents Tobago well on any single matter. This is why I hardly go to executive council meetings, you know. So why sometimes I never used to even go to the House.
But then, Mr. Duke, then
because I felt sick. Honestly speaking, I felt sick sometimes. just being around them. And I wouldn't say anything because I recognize that they had their plans a long time. So I would stay quiet. And they say, why you quiet so? I'm simply preserving life.
But then, Mr. Duke, are you guilty now of putting your own personal grievances above the need of the people by not showing up to these meetings, by not attending the House, and so on?
That's not personal grievance. You see, Watson Solomon Duke cannot see wrong and don't speak out. And there are sometimes when I see something wrong taking place, I must take a walk. Take a walk. Don't even look at it.
But then what about trying to find another way to deal with it so that it can be dealt with in the best interest of the people?
I've had several meetings with Farley, phone calls, and I would speak to him privately. I would not go through what these things are, all right? But we'll have more meetings. But he's not taking conversation well. You know what I mean? He just, yeah. That's his famous word. Yeah. If anybody knows Farley, his famous word is, yeah. He gave about 10 years. 10 years in 1 minute, in 1 second. Yeah. We're going to talk. And that's it. End of text. So, I'm simply saying again, Tobago is suffering. Tobago needs real leadership. And this is what the PDP had always presented. Real leadership. You see what's happening here? That's child's play. That's a man, a young boy, who is trying to show strength. This is why Standard & Poor's, well, Moody has reduced it, you know. I've heard explanation given this morning. That's not a true explanation. That's folly. That's rubbish.
Why is it not true?
That's rubbish. I could tell you, until I've been at the apex of the public service, I was. Whenever there is any type of a disruption in government caused by trade union or it looks unstable, everything goes down. Right? Everything goes down. Look at England. When this prime minister came in, the last prime minister before this one came to England, they wanted to do some financial arrangements that people weren't happy with. And immediately, stocks went down and the dollar went down. As low as $5, it went down to somewhere around there. So again, once he came out and he's attacking his political, everybody knows what's Duke going to take that. And the fight is far from over. Right? But when you came out attacking a giant, a man who has fought all his life, a man who has been on that path, people say, oh gosh, get popcorn. Start eating one time. This won't finish now. Moody said, downgrade one time. Because they know that nobody's going to come into Tobago space at this point in time and invest with that assembly. Yeah. Because we are calling, and we intend to continue the call and to ramp up the call for fresh elections. There must be fresh elections. This will not go away easy. There will be no quietness in this.
But how is calling fresh elections putting the people first? Because the people of Tobago are tired of elections.
Of what?
They've had several elections within 2-3 years space of time.
No.
You don't think so?
One election extra, not several. One election extra.
No, you would have had the general elections. You would have had two.
No, the people of Tobago unique themselves. Forget the general. General is general. That's a normal thing. But the Tobago House of Assembly election was due January of last year. There was a tie. And naturally, there should have been a re-election which took place at the end of the year in December. They can't be tied for that.
But how would a new elections benefit Tobago? Because again, you're putting on hold everything that needs to be done, the development of Tobago, all that needs to change within the public service to make things better, to push the island forward. How is that going to change anything?
Well, put it this way, Candice. You see, the long-time politics are done with. We are waiting for 4 years again to say we want our fresh elections. All right? England are waiting for 4 years again, for 5 years again, 4 years again, to say they want fresh election. As they do nonsense, England changing them one time. Good? And some countries in Africa, they just change them one time too. Throughout the world, they change them one time. We would be crazy to put, let's say, 2.5 billion in these independents who have no ownership, no allegiance to anybody. They're all independent. All right? So one could blame the other, and they could hide the money as that. They could do whatever they want. One could blame the other and say, well, I have no responsibility over him. He's an independent. You know what I mean? They could do whatever they want. We can't wait until $2.5 billion spent out to come and say, okay, we'll get my next chance again. Let's spend the next $2.5 billion and Tobago remain behind. Where are the jobs we created? Where are the jobs? How many new jobs have they created and how many old jobs have they taken away?
Now,
what's going on with the ex-gratia payment? For the other workers, you're taking the health workers' ex-gratia payment, which was given by central government, and you're blowing a trumpet as if you would have done that. Where are the ex-gratia payment for all the workers? You went to the house, you quantified 10,600 workers here, and you're supposed to pay the money up. But by what date? What is the sum?
How can people trust the PDP now going forward after everything that has happened? How can
that's a loaded question, Candice. I think you may want to rethink your question and ask a question over. Journalists shouldn't ask a question like that. That's a question with a definite end in mind. How can they trust? The question should be, why should they not trust the PDP? That's my question. Why should they not? What have we done? We came in to remove the PNM. We did. Yeah? We came in believing in young people. We gave them a chance. And I stepped out of the dance. So leave them to themselves. Good? And I'm not looking for back for position. I'm contented. Right? My salary is 11,000 a month. And I'm contented with that. Good? That's the lowest salary I've ever gotten in the last 20 years. The lowest salary I've ever gotten. Right? And I resigned a job in the PS. They pay me much money, much comfort, whatever. The boss. Right? I resigned the deputy chief secretary work. Small money anyway too. About $37,000. And I've accepted $11,000 salary. I don't want anything but the rights and the justice of my people. That's what I want. So how could you make it look as if the PDP did something wrong? We gave life to these young chaps. We gave life to them. Who was Dr. Faith? Who was YT? YT never ran for office. Who was Trevor James? Never ran for office. Who would have taken these persons up and run? Could they have formed their own party and be successful? Let me tell you. Ashford Jack did a good job, but he failed. Right? Hochul Charles did a good job, but he failed. They got wiped out. And so we had the forwards come in. They failed too. They got wiped out. You think they could survive this? To lead politics in this country, you need to be a brand name. Falia, no brand.
I want to see, I want to get from you though.
Let me tell you, PDP is a brand. PDP is a brand. I need to understand that. Right? I need to recognize that PDP isn't just a name PDP. PDP conjure up images on the mind of the electorate and they become excited. We are in Trinidad. And as we traverse, because we are now making a party national, it's the first time in the history a Tobago party conquered Tobago and then go to Trinidad. That's never happened. It was unconceivable or inconceivable, so to speak. We have done it. And we are getting rave reviews. Right? I could tell you, we are going to win Port of Spain City Corporation. We are going to win Port of Spain, North Port of Spain, South Laventille, East Laventille, West. We are going to win several areas in Trinidad. And we intend to show Tobagonians that we are not just talkers. We will go the length and the breadth. Not to just look after Tobago, but to look after the country. Because you cannot look after Tobago and not look after the entire country.
Okay, well, we have so many things to get into, but I want to ask this question. Is it true that you approached Mr. Ian Pollard for that position of Chief Secretary to sort of, overthrow Mr. Augustine? Is there any truth to that claim?
Nope. Ian Pollard is a wild card. And fun enough that I saw in Ian Pollard what he didn't see himself. For Ashford Jack, he was just an altar boy to run up and down and do his errands. For Vanilla Allen, he was a bagman, took the bag, drive the car, call it whatever. He was not political stock. He was of no political material. I saw Ian Pollard and I said, look, we could use you. I said, you are a good man. I feel I can lend my brand to your brand and let's win this.
So you did not approach him in the past year?
How could I? Let's reason. You're an intelligent woman, Candice. If I have not approached the other persons to support him, how could I approach him? If I have not filed a no confidence motion so as to remove the chief secretary, how could I ask him to be chief secretary? He has to be a fool to think that I would ask him to be that. And so he's going around the place with pettiness, trying to act as if I want to oust Fali. I gave him the position since 2019. You were there at Magdalena, weren't you there?
Yes.
In the boxing ring. When I said to them, I'm going to Trinidad, and I've remained consistent. I've remained consistent. My focus is being in Trinidad because Tobago cannot be free unless we free Trinidad. Trinidad and Tobago now must stay together for the rest of our lives. But we must do so in a way of respect. Tobago must have its respect, Trinidad must have its respect, and must all work together.
No, there's
as
that.
equal partners.
No, there's that claim, and we're dealing a little bit more here with the PDP itself. That I mean, of course, like you said repeatedly this morning, that you are responsible for bringing these people on board and giving them that platform to be politicians and to be where they are today. Now, but there's a claim that, you know, they use the analogy, you know, when you're playing cricket and you provide the bat and the ball, and you know, the game not going your way, so you get vexed and you take back your bat and ball and you go home, right? Game done. Is this situation like that? And how do you respond to that claim that, you know, you did not get your way, so you just taking back everything and you're gone?
Candice, is a lovely question. But let me say this to you. Even in cricket, there is an umpire. In football, there's a referee. And the game has to be played a particular kind of way.
But we're not talking about an official game. We're just talking about your neighborhood game here.
Listen to me. Even that, there'll still be someone who be the referee. One official referee, maybe a player, but a player referee, but player umpire. Somebody has to be responsible for saying this is illegal, this is wrong. You can't expect me to abscond from my responsibility and say, let's do what I want. No, it's my brand. My brand, and I have to hold them accountable.
But it's not about you, it's also about the people of Tobago.
Well, if you allow me to answer the question, I will say to you, my brand is putting the people first. And everything I've asked them to do is to put people first. I said, look, you all promised this. Where is it? Why you spend $17.5 million on Carnival when there was 48 landslides prior to that same month that team identified? Why did you cost that and say, all right, let's treat it this, let's cancel Carnival because it's too much, and let's deal with this? Why are you fetting down the place? So much so that Shamfa has to say they could throw a good fet. I mean, Fali's 7 Adventist, that's still, you know. And imagine his administration is being labeled as could throw a good fet. Come on, man. We ought to be more wise than that. Let us put people first. So when I say to them, I say, look, if you don't like how I'm talking to you, if you don't like what I'm saying to you, then you can leave. Right? And I maintain that. Right? I said, if you don't want to follow the mandate, you can leave. But as long as you're here, I will keep telling you, point out the mandate. Why is it that on our own, we were fixing roof? Several roofs of people we fix. P&M are different kind of people. We fixing roof. The own money. I still have bills I'm paying for that. All right? And we're in power now. We have a division dealing with housing. We have a division dealing with social assistance. How many roofs have they fixed? You know what I mean? How many roofs have they fixed? We are an semi-autonomous body. So we could redirect the way in which we do business. We can say, you know what? We have a roof crew that will just go out and fix roof. Forget the grants, because people take the grants and do other things sometimes with the grants. That's not right. So let's fix certain roof. Let's go outside and let's supervise the process. Ensure that even persons without proper deed and proper things to their name, because to get some of these documents, some of these grants, it's like an obstacle course. People tell me they're going for a food card by Dr. Faith, and it's like an obstacle course. It's difficult, it's a turn off. You have to get this, you have to get that, you have to get that.
But then aren't all those things needed for accountability? Because we understand the desire of yourself and even just the man on the street that we wish that things could happen immediately. But however, there is a process in place for a reason.
Again, let me say to you, government exists to serve the people.
Then how do you ensure accountability where these things are concerned?
Fair enough, fair enough. We need to spend more time on the ground. All right? Someone needing a roof replaced, someone needing a staircase built. You don't need to put an obstacle course for that. You go out there, you see the thing, you ask questions, you deal straight with the matter. There are some things, of course, that requires a little more time because it's very complex. You just can't move in. But there are some things that can be dealt with quickly. Yeah? Replacing a sheet or galvanized, you don't need an obstacle course for that. Sometimes one roof leaking. Finding a leak, fixing a staircase, you're not going to build a house. There's no obstacle course needed for that. Someone could access the house with dignity. Come on, let's not make this thing one of tomfoolery, whereby we're making it look as if there's a process. We came in to get rid of process. That was our thing. PDP riding on that. We are going to make it more easy for Tobagonians to access all the benefits that you should get. Because when politicians want one thing, just get it quick though. Just make a phone call and get it quick.
Now, Mr. Duke, you also said that you're here, you need to be more on the ground. The members, the independents, I should say, they need to be more on the ground. Have you been on the ground enough? Because you spent quite a lot of time building out the party in Trinidad. But how have you been able to cater to your electoral district here?
Well, I could tell you that question, you know. For the entire year, I've kept about 5 mass meetings, right, where the entire public could come. I go to my village every month. When I go there, I spend late in the night, sometimes 11 o'clock in the night, speaking to people, right? I feed everyone who come to me. I feed them, and no one leaves my office without some type of assistance, all right?
Right.
So I'm very much on the ground. I'm not sitting on the road drinking rum and talking shoppiness. I'm very much on the ground. I traverse my area. I jump out, I talk, I greet people hands, but they have to understand that I am doing what Fali Augustine is not doing. I'm trying to now create an institution that spans both countries, so we can have a greater say in our democracy in Tobago,
Yes.
our autonomy, and Trinidad could have a greater say also in their own lives. This country has been ruled by despots and tyrants for the last few years, and we have to fix that. We need to put a man with a real heart in his chest to lead Trinidad and Tobago politics. This is just too much. Too much of people who are not eating now in Tobago and in Trinidad. There are persons who have all the degrees. And so therefore, Candice, let me say this. I rubbish the idea. I totally rubbish the idea that says, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for the day. But if you teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. That's hogwash. Nonsense. That's outdated. That's for 18th century. In this modern day and age, there are persons who have learned to fish, and they're fishing whole day and then catching nothing. Why? A big trawler pass and pick up everything. Yeah? We must understand, symbolically speaking, that jobs are not as available as they should be. And you could have all the degrees in the world, ready to go and fish yourself. There's no opportunity for you.
No,
no opportunity. It means, therefore, I'm giving solution. I know you're busy to go on. But I must give solutions. See, I'm a solution-oriented kind of guy. I'm not like the dunderheads that occupy power. I'm a solution-oriented kind of guy. Yeah? What ought to happen? There ought to be a universal basic income that goes to all members of society at different strata. Sometimes, instead of trying to develop things, you develop people. Because if people are developed properly and you expose them, they will bring money for you. They will take the country further.
All right, now, Mr. Duke, I want to get to another issue within the party. The chairman, Dr. Sean Ned, stated that there were some financial issues in terms that there was no accounting from the part of Mr. Augustine during the campaign. But there is also that claim there that you would have received money and there is no account for those things either. How do you address these claims?
Well, let's say he who alleges must prove. Right, so if someone gave me money, let them come forward and say how much money they give me. End the talk. All right? But if I utilize my own money for my own business interests, right, then don't tell me I must give an account for that. Right? All the music trucks, all the banners, I pay for all the banners. The jerseys, I paid for the jerseys. Some they got free. I don't know where they got it from. But I paid for almost all the campaign. Let me put it this way. 90% of what went in to the campaign for December 2020, I paid it. I still have bills outstanding. For January 2021, we still owe truck drivers. The only money they got was from me. You would have heard Fali after they would have voted in the new Deputy Chief Secretary. When asked by Mr. Leacock, so what happened to the bills that the PDP now has? He said, well, I laughed. Wasn't you going to take care of that? It's his responsibility. But he is on camera saying he received funds from contractors. On camera saying that, lay back in the black jersey and a couch or whatever you call it. And he's going to use the funds to give constituency representatives to give as book grants. I received none from him. I was never called from him. He didn't declare to me, nor the finance officer, nor the treasurer, how much money he received and how much money was given to the various districts. But one thing we know he did, having made a mess of those things and incurred bills to win the election, he then left the party.
Where Mr. Augustine would have said those things?
On the PDP Facebook page.
On the PDP Facebook page.
The picture is still there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that has become the subject of a court matter, well, not a court matter, of a pre-action protocol, where I responded to him. I said, this is the way you said that. You see, people just want to play ma afraid powder, right? And I would know of persons who said to me they gave money to various people. They said that to me, how much they gave. I'm not going to call them names or anybody names here, right? But they gave people. But who could say they gave me money? Who could say they gave me money here? Nobody could say they gave me money. Not one single soul could say that. I challenge that. Nobody in Tobago could say they gave me money. Nobody. Right? I have my business interests that will.
Yes.
Right? I will actually have my and I work with. That's why I can survive on 11,000 a month. Right? But the other folks in the party, they have a trouble. See, my colleagues in the party, as one man said to me, that's Terence Baines, said to me, we not allowing you to mash up this, no? To mash up what? As I was saying to you, and you heard why it's the same thing too. You can't mash up something in Bill. And
so you're saying that you didn't mash up anything?
Terence Baines' response was that you have everything, you know. We ain't got nothing yet. Indeed, he's right. They have nothing. Terence Baines is an old man. Nothing he has. Right? He has nothing. Right? We must watch to see how much they acquire assets over the next few years or the few months. All right? And whether their salary could do that. Before I came into politics, I had a house. Right? I was living a particular type of life. I took my excess money and I funneled it into my campaigns. So don't come now and act as if I'm receiving gifts from someone and I'm not giving it to the party.
All right, now, Mr. Duke, throughout this
if the party is to pay me back, they will have about over $50 million to me, you know. If they pay me back, you know, I say to you, it's over $50 million they will have for me, you know. So don't come up with the ideas to say, well, you know what I mean? And I gave Farley money to register the people on their money, on registration nomination day, right? I gave Farley money for everyone. And I said, Farley, the party must pay for this. You are the person leading this, you pay that. But you know, I watched something and we went in together, me and Dr. Fate. I saw Dr. Fate pay for himself, for herself. I saw Farley pay it for himself. Then I went up next. Farley going outside and said, hey, come. I said, pay for me, you know. I don't know if he paid for the others. All right? I can see that. I saw that. I witnessed that. I said, hey, come. I give much $1,000 to pay for everybody. And you ain't want to pay for me? You had to pay for me too.
All right, so Mr. Duke, I mean, throughout this conversation and even a lot of your utterings, your Facebook Live videos, you have made some very disparaging remarks against your colleagues. Now,
like what? Like what?
You've called them quite a lot of names.
Like what? Like what?
Because you call them like a child and all those things.
That's a disparaging name, a child? Christ said, unless
you do not think that that's disrespectful of
no.
the people?
Christ said, unless you become a child, you can enter in the kingdom of heaven.
So you don't think any of those names are disrespectful?
No, it's not disrespectful.
All right.
They simply speak of a particular station in life where I see them at. So I use that maybe as a simile, as a metaphor. It's not literal. They're big men. They're not literal children. But for the sake of making a point, bringing clarity, you use the form of a simile or as a metaphor.
So you're just saying that it's a metaphor.
And you would know that. You're a high school graduate, right?
And then, I mean, also for a lot of the members, when we talked to them about the whole situation, they said that they felt hurt. They were hurt. They were angry.
How many members you spoke to?
We spoke to
a lot. How much a lot?
We spoke to all of them except for Ms. Sitikawa, right? And those were the comments that they made, that they were hurt and they were disappointed.
You know who's Sitikawa? You know who is Sutika?
Well, oh, no, not speaking. We're not speaking.
You know who Sutika?
Mr. Duke, you are deflecting.
No, but you know who Sutika?
No, but no, we're not talking about Mr. Tika. Oh, we had.
They have lived through this a million times, you know. And I was warned about Sutika and them, you know. They say when these people come into your party, they're gonna mash up your party. All right? Because they were there in Nar, they was there in top, they was there in forward. They said these are grasshoppers. When you come inside, I said no.
But then why did you trust them?
No, listen to me. I'm a trusting person. I always believe that let person prove themselves. But the truth is, I never took my ball and walk. Right? I remain in the game. I'm consistent. Watson Duke is consistent. I remain on the field of play. I remain with the PDP. The PDP is expanding in Trinidad. The PDP is still in Tobago. I'm still advocating on behalf of my people in Tobago. But the man who took the ball is a young man called Fali Akosting. First of all, he threatened me. Right? You're removing portfolio. That's harsh. That's unreasonable, right? A man who gave her the position. I could have taken it from him, you know. I'm saying to you. Right? But that's not a big thing for me. I'm saying to you. So he got the position for me. The passive party facilitated him. The growth and the support and everything. He got there. Then as if it were, he took the ball, which is the THA. He took the ball and said, we leave in the PDP now. That's the ball he took. Ask me what ball did I take? Did I take anything? No. I gave up. I gave up the chief secretary position. I gave up the deputy chief secretary position because I gave him the chief. That wasn't enough for him. He wanted also the deputy work also. I said, well, take that too. Good. Then he wanted the part. I said, well, no, you can't have that one. I'm the owner of that one. That's my ball. Right? That's it. And this ball is for everybody to play with. So you know what he did next? He said, I'm taking my ball. We are independent and we leave in the field of play. The field of play was in PDP. Being in Tobago was the executive. Now it is called a Fadi-led independent executive. But let's see how that will go because there will have to be elections soon. We are going to move the earth to ensure the democratic will of Tobagonians are exercised in who they want. I could guarantee you now, not one of them. Not one of them will win a seat. Not one. I guarantee none.
There's also that claim that there's no democracy within the party, especially with you touting that you are the owner of the party. And of course, no one can take that away from you.
Oh, you know that?
Of course not.
Well,
but I mean, is there democracy within the PDP at this point in time?
Well, if Dr. Feet lost the elections in 2015 and I brought her back to be a councillor, isn't there democracy?
No, what about now? Because that was 4 years, 5 years ago.
When we had press conferences, you were there. All of them used to speak, right? When I campaigned, Fali spoke longer than me as if he don't want me to talk at all. I said, but what's wrong with you? What are you talking so long for? You were just supposed to introduce me. He gave a whole long speech. But you know where he wanted to go with that, obviously. When I moved the motion for him to become the chief secretary, wasn't that democracy? When I stayed silent for the whole year and allowed them to talk and play their games and everything is a fet, everything is a eat a food, everything is a picture take out and skin the teeth, you know? You never see me lying with them. Never, ever. Wasn't that democracy?
But even right now, there's not. Is there? Could you truthfully say that there is democracy right now?
Well, of course.
Why?
Because people are still able to voice their views. Dr. Ned was here. There was no earpiece in his ears telling him what to say. He spoke freely, right? My team is in Trinidad. We are moving around the place. That is democracy. Democracy is that which you allow persons to contribute their ideas, to give of themselves, whatever that is. Yeah? And I'm not here as an enemy of Fali Augustine, an enemy of the executive. I'm not here as that. I'm simply saying do the work that you were elected to do. You say you're following the mandate, put it in writing. Print the press and ship it out. Let's see what the mandate is now. Yeah? Let's see what you're going to make a priority. Let's see your next 100-day plan as independent. Because you're new. Don't pretend as if you were there before. These independents are all individual parties, 13 individual parties. No one has any bearing on the next. Yeah? And so every man must say for himself, what is his plan? The 13 of them. What is your mandate Fali can't say what is the mandate for them, you know. He don't speak for them. He speaks for himself.
What is the future for the PDP? Are you guys going to have an internal election soon? Because to elect new persons
We have
for the
elected persons.
executive?
We have elected persons already.
Already?
We have elected persons already, and the chairman is going to make that known to the public at the right time.
Okay.
Right? But we have elected persons. The PDP don't stick. The PDP is a party that is sought after, is craved after. The style of the PDP is infectious. Yeah?
No, I mean, you were able, part of the reason why the PDP won was because of all these people coming together for one goal. How can you do that again, replicate that without that team?
Well, the people who came together to make us win, they've proven themselves to be less than honorable. In that, win we did, but to come back and talk to the people, to engage the people in mass membership meetings I've done. I'm having a mass membership meeting today in Roxborough. Yeah? My people come out. No one is the bad. Come, we sit down, we talk, I feed them after, you know, because, you know, we have a social gathering.
Yes.
So this evening is a little Christmas dinner. I say, fancy come in normal clothes, short pants, whatever. We keep up about 200 people, we feed people that kind of way, of the constituency that is. And we talk, we bring their views, we talk, we discuss issues. They are not doing that. They are the ones who are undemocratic. Let Farley tell me when last he kept a mass membership meeting. Let Whitey tell me that. Let Baines tell me that. Let Nutty tell me that. A mass membership meeting. And how often they do that? They don't. But I'm democratic, and the PDP is well. The PDP is strong. The PDP is well poised to win a couple of seats in Trinidad to add to the seats in Tobago. Because the only way we could have the respect that we are seeking within the Trinidad and Tobago unison is for us to be able to say, look, we have influence in the parliament. And to have influence in the parliament will require more than just 2 Tobago seats. It will require seats in Trinidad. Black people were not free from slavery by running away. The white people had to agree to set us free. Yeah?
Now, as we're getting ready to wrap up our conversation, what would you like to say to the people of Tobago about just the way forward for the PDP and yourself?
Well, I would say that we all, as a PDP political leader, founder, owner, etc., we continue to put people first. We continue to put those objectives that we have always had for them on a pedestal, and we will never mistreat Tobagonians. Whether we have to swim again or whatever, we will never mistreat Tobagonians. The PDP is in politics to serve people. We're not in politics to have a person serve us. We are not looking for a name. We're looking for a picture on a wall. As political leaders, I've given up everything to serve the people of Tobago. You know, since I left the union just falling down in parts now. Just falling into parts since I've left the union. People asking for me to come back. I'm not going back. I'm here now with Tobago people now. I'm here in Trinidad now. I'm trying to lift a whole society up. So I will not always be here. I will not always be in Trinidad, but I will do as much as I can do as one man to ensure I represent people both in Trinidad and in Tobago.
And certainly, I mean, we know that this is not the end of Mr. Duke. You will continue, and we're looking forward to see what comes. Now, I just want to thank you so much for being on the program with us. I really hope you could come back again so that we could address each issue and spend the requisite time as they come up.
At least once a month I'll come.
All right. Yes, I think we could work with that.
Once a month I'll come.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you again for sharing your views. And I mean, I hope the viewers, I hope you were able to get something from that. I mean, we had a lot of questions from Mr. Duke. I mean, he gave his answers. And of course, it's up to you now to just form your own opinions and make your decisions to suit. So thank you for being with us. And viewers, we'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow, Thursday, of course, Chanel Felix will be here in the seat and she'll be handling the conversations there. So have a wonderful, safe, and productive day. And we'll see you again.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise. Let's go, go. It's
a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.